We're back. We're back in a church at the top of the mountain. Last session, you guys basically did the journey up the mountain, discovering some of the sort of history of the giants in this area, some of their like infrastructure and things like that as well along the way. Upon arriving at this astropath, this temple to the goddess, not really a temple in its first instance, but it's definitely been adapted into more of a temple now. You guys did battle with a pair of guardian statues that were powered by angelariums, grave markers of two deceased angels, and discovered that they go through some strange repair cycles at which point they're impervious. And while trying to puzzle out how to deal with this seemingly inexhaustible threat, a woman came out and sort of called off the guards. Let me just double check names, because there were a few names thrown around. Yes, she introduced herself as Sister Sympathy. As to whether her real name is anything Sympathy is an interesting question, but that is what she called herself. And upon seeing Caliban's angelic form with the wings, invited you into the temple and sort of explained that there were people that felt called to this place, and that they used the astropath to search the heavens for the missing goddess. Herself and some of the other people there look after these individuals who are incapable of looking after themselves while they journey the stars. You guys were given a room, which is basically where, like, new people that have felt the call stay while they're first integrating into their sort of situation. Adhira did some astral scouting where she felt the pull of the astropath trying to get her into the stars. And she discovered that there was some dubious feelings about the group from other members of the sisterhood, the brotherhood here. But Sister Sympathy seems to be in charge, and for now seems to be being respected in her wishes that you will all be here. You guys are here looking for a vault and the treasures therein, and Adhira did discover the vault in that, but protected against astral wanderings, as you would want your vault to be when your building is designed to allow people to wander around in an astral form. Maybe you should stop them peering into your magical vaults. And I think we left off, you guys were taking a short rest. I asked a few people if they wanted to take watches, but ultimately your watches would be without incident. You would hear some shuffling around of individuals. There's like some low level of activity all night, but there's nothing that piques anyone's interest if they do stay up at any point during the night. Those of you who have short rest features, who want to get stuff back or spend hit dice, I can't remember if we did that last session. If not, go ahead and do so now if you need to. Otherwise, you awaken to the sound of conversation. It's like that collective murmur of a group of people talking, where it becomes hard to pick out individual voices, especially through a door or walls or things like that. There's no windows here, so it's hard to tell exactly what time it is, but Axel and a few others of you are early risers anyway, so you're pretty confident that, like, when your eyes first open, it's pretty early in the morning. What do you want to do?
I'll need a bit before Roll20 actually loads, because for some reason it just isn't.
Mm-hmm. It's fine.
For the day.
Yep. You grab a new set of clothes from your backpack for the morning, get changed, get ready, Axel
Just
looks.
look like the nerd I am.
Axel looks at his weapon, kind of leaning up against the wall. Says, "Maybe we leave the more aggressive-looking weapons behind. I'm sure Dafer's gauntlets will be fine, but bows and large scythes might give the impression we're here expecting a fight. They might be more
Agreed.
willing to talk."
Also, if it comes down to danger, I don't really need the scythe, obviously.
Axel nods. Everyone comfortable leaving their blades and such behind?
Oh, why do I feel like this is a terrible idea?
Don't worry, I'll protect you.
Why do I feel like it's an even more terrible idea?
I'll bring a gun and a knife.
I might fold my bow up into the whip and like wear it as a belt or something.
Yeah, you probably could get away with that, I think. It would be like a sort of like Outlander bone belt, but I don't think it would be overly obvious that it's a fold-out weapon type thing. That's probably beyond their reasoning of what engineering can do.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to scream weapon.
Axel goes to the door, opens it up. There are a few people that were like sat around, not keeping an eye on the door so much as being like, a young man stands up and says, "You're awake. We are gathered for breakfast. Brother Timney wished to offer you food if you would like it."
Sorry, Brother Timney?
I will spell it for you because you're doomed, mate.
Okay, because that sounded like chimney with a T.
It kind of is, I guess.
A little bit.
Tiny Timmy.
Axel sort of just nods, and this young gentleman leads you through into another partition section of what would be normally just this huge grand hall, but they've put like wooden walls and things inside, so there are rooms inside rooms in a sense at this point. And you come through into like a big long breakfast table. All the men sit on one side, all the women sit on the other, and there's like produce from like almost like allotment food, so we're talking like carrots and things like that have been roasted. It's like a very root vegetable and potato diet that seems to be on offer for breakfast this morning. You see Sister Sympathy at the very far end of the table. There is a chair to the left of her on the men's side that is left open, and on the right-hand side of her is a woman that you recognize from yesterday. Adhira is, I think, referred to as Everest, Evras. And she's the one who was like, these people are not trustworthy. But as the group of you walks in, Sympathy gestures for Caliban to come sit in the empty spot to her side, whereas the rest of you are left to any sort of chair that you wish.
I'll pick out the seat and sit down. What kind of daggers is Everest glaring at us?
She's not, actually. Her eyes are more on Caliban, because apparently this is some reason to trust you all completely. But they're not daggers you're seeing directed at Caliban. On a surface level, you're seeing curiosity. If you want to give me an insight check, you can certainly try and read deeper.
Okay. Does this woman also have the hearts for the Halleck family tree?
17.
No.
There is curiosity. On a 17, I'll go one layer deeper. And the curiosity is that you've seen it in, like, business people before when they have found out something that is an opportunity.
She sees something in him that fits her goals, not just sympathies in the cathedrals.
It seems much more personal. There's a personal objective tied to it. Yes, for sure. That's what you'd see there. Here is there's a personal gain for her that might come from Caliban.
Who is sitting next to me?
Did you go and sit next to her? Because wasn't there only one chair open?
Well, there are chairs open. It's only Caliban who had like a designated chair. So there are like scattered chairs available for you guys.
Oh, okay, I see. I'll sit next to you. I don't see why not.
Adhira leans over and just sort of softly whispers to Clara, the one next to Sympathy. Keep an eye on her.
I have 2 eyes on her. Would you mind telling
Very
me what I'm
good.
supposed to be looking for?
Motive, maybe? She's... I'm... something off about her. Perhaps that she's planning something, or is something about Caliban has interested her.
Okay.
Caliban, are you approaching the seat that was gestured for you? It takes you very far away from your companions. They are at the very far end of the table. You will be alone if you go there.
Good.
Dafer would not like if they gesture Caliban to like towards like a far end of the table. Dafer would not be in favor of that, regardless of how that may look. So he just
I'm just gonna look at I'm just gonna look towards the rest of the party. I'm just gonna guess like gleam their expressions.
I think Dafer would be like the pack does not split up in potentially like hostile territory.
Axel will look at you, Caliban, and say, "It's your choice whether you go there or not. It's quite clear that they have an interest in you, and that is of use to us. But I do not want you to put yourself in a situation you're uncomfortable with."
If it furthers our goal, like he sort of like just tilts his head, like if it furthers our goal, he'll approach. He'll take the seat.
Okay. You go to the far end.
1 second. Before you go, can I try to hand you one of the conjures I have? Just in case you want to leave a message in some manner for us.
Okay.
Check.
You move up to the far end of the table. Sister Everest, so Sister Sympathy looks at you, Caliban, and says, "This is another member of our order. This is Sister Everest." And at this point, Everest stands up and pours some food into a bowl and puts it in front of you before sitting back down. And she says to you, I understand from Sympathy that you have some link to the divine.
In a sense, I was just made aware of it quite recently. Myself, yes.
Her head tilts a little at that, and she looks at you and says, "Your journey here has awakened these gifts."
More in the face of adversity.
Give me a persuasion check.
Yeah, let's see.
11. You do have +1 d4.
Oh. Okay. 1 second.
The Eternal. 14. She looks at you and says, you see no link between coming to a place of faith in the goddess and the development of strength born from her creation. It seems you are open to this new power that's come before you, but I think you should be more open to the workings of the divine and the plans that they have laid before us.
Would be an interesting way of putting it.
She gives a small laugh and looks down at her food, and sympathy kind of takes over the conversation a little, looks at you kind of and says, I understand that as a noble family of Empress, you must be used to a certain standard of living that I'm sure we cannot hope to live up to, but still, please enjoy your food.
Worry not. I have partaken and humbled myself amongst the common rabble, and I look towards the rest of my party. With a slight smirk.
You know that
Hear what
one
he's saying, but I think he just called us rabble.
that one gymnast who won silver and gave like that very like not impressed look. That's it.
That's Victoria. Come over.
Everest looks at you, Caliban, and says, yes, you travel with a great number of individuals. I must ask, are they attendants of yours?
Attendants, compatriots, friends even, one might say.
But should one?
Everest thinks for a moment and says, one of your friends is known to some of our members. The older amongst us fought in the rebellion. They recognize a certain veteran amongst your group.
Interesting. I look at Axel.
He seems to be like, he's just like in his breakfast right now, trying to look as not suspicious of his food as possible, basically, at the moment as he's eating it. She nods and says, worry not. No one here bears this man ill will. After all, we're all children of the goddess, and it is clear that in her absence, we as a people have made many mistakes.
I see. Do tell me more.
Yeah. Give me a straight charisma check. You still get your D4 to this,
Okay.
Caliban.
Ooh,
15.
15.
Everest begins to go on and says, many who come here feel the calling because of injustices they have experienced in their life. Problems they see that are insurmountable. Those who wander the stars looking for the goddess are ones who are seeking answers. You are one of position and whose blood has linked you closely to those created by the goddess most perfectly. At this point, Sympathy kind of speaks over Everest and says, what she's trying to say is, we're quite honored that you are here.
Of course.
Give me...
It's an honor to... Yeah, I was going to say it's an honor to meet you.
Give me just a straight intelligence check, Caliban, as you're conversing with these two.
Let me add my
D4.
D4.
18. You can tell that between the two of these individuals, there is a slight ideological difference. And it makes a big difference between the two of them, Caliban. Everest, from what she just said to you and from the sort of tone between the two of them, believes that humanity is a lesser thing, in a sense. It's not that she thinks they're wicked or bad. Perhaps more, it should be said, she thinks of humans as incapable. That despite their sort of like best efforts, it won't ever be enough. Sympathy basically believes that there is some level of like, it's worth trying to find the goddess. That if people want to do it, they should be allowed to do it. Sympathy doesn't necessarily have, like, Everest is definitely human. Everest is human, yes. And in that sense, she believes herself less capable than Caliban. So basically, Sympathy, it isn't like she is... It's not like she hates the ideas of Everest beside her. She just thinks it's a little too much, in a sense. Like, but yeah, you can tell there's some tension between the two of them, Caliban. But they still, for the most part, seem to get along. I don't know if there's anything you'd want to try and work out about the two of them beyond what you've just sort of figured out, Caliban.
Nothing that I'm planning at the moment.
Okay.
I have no interest in starting a cult.
No. As you sit there, but in a sense, Caliban, you can feel that that's what Everest wants. Like, Everest is here, worming her way around the topic of perhaps your leadership would be good here, and it would do good, and finding the goddess might go better if you were in charge of this. Yeah. The rest of the group, food is before you. I don't know if any of you are like, I'm not eating this. Otherwise, you certainly can. It's like a hearty sort of breakfast stew type thing. Is there anything anyone else would like to do as they were sat here at the table?
Adhira will eat. I think that she legally cannot refuse free food with her background.
Mm-hmm.
But quick perception check. How many hundreds of candles are currently in this room?
In this room, not many.
Okay.
There are some to light the table, because otherwise it would be pitch fucking black in here, right? Like, there are some candles and some torches. But the candles seem reserved for the Wanderers, those who are at the stars, because the candle light, for whatever reason, transports with them so that they might see in the dark void of whatever it is up there.
When we're back in that main room, I wanna try and count all the candles.
It will take you a very long time, Vampire Atira.
I set the frog down and I tell him to count.
He will give you a number. I don't know how you're gonna trust it.
I just will. You know,
it's true.
Blindly.
Yes.
Blindly.
And that is why you have the lamp.
This is why you estimate instead.
9.
It's time to sample, motherfuckers. Get the quadrant
More
out.
than 7.
He's not wrong.
So here you're eating breakfast. As you look around, you don't see too much in the way of candles here in the space. Anyone else looking for anything particular, or eavesdropping as best they can, or anything like that?
I think Dafer would try to get like an idea of like what's going on in our surroundings, trying to pick up details that could come in useful later. Trying to get like an idea of, just the people here, if there's like any hushed talk about us or any other
Yeah.
topics in
Give me a perception
this
check,
temple.
Dafer.
Perception check.
Um,
16.
Presumably you have segregated yourself into like the male and female side of the table. I don't know if anyone wanted to specifically go against that sort of like strange segregation that they have going on. Otherwise, Dave, on your side of the table, you hear a few people talking about an individual by the name of Brother Cooper. He seems to be in charge of the people that go around lighting and snuffing candles and maintaining the candles. You hear a few people mention that Brother Cooper is unwell, and that he's been in his room since last night. And basically all the stuff that comes with like someone who's usually in charge being missing for a while, where like those who are underneath him are going around the table and delegating certain tasks to certain individuals, including like who's gonna go and get today's stock of candles from the storage room and things like that, Dayfer. You don't hear any mention of like you guys in particular, although of course you catch many a person unable to stop themselves from like glancing at the newcomers, right? Like that sort of happens, Dayfer, and you see that.
Okay. Sorry, and what was the name of the position Brother Cooper had? Like, I have it in my mind as like a leader of candle management, but that's not.
Just the candle lighters.
Okay. It's the. Okay. And there's like the looks that we're receiving are exclusively of like a curiosity nature.
Yeah, from what you're getting, it's a mixture, right? Some people are curious, some people are suspicious, some people look at Axel with that like, especially the older people here, of like, oh, I remember this person, and like you see them get lost in thought a little before realizing they're staring and like going back to what they were, what they were doing.
Out of curiosity, do I notice that Axel notices? Is he aware?
Axel, give me an insight check.
Okay.
9. Axel notices people looking at him. In a sense, you don't think he understands exactly why, because you're all getting looks. So he's just brushing it off as like he's new is what you're getting right now.
Oh, okay. Don't think I have too much to think in that case. I guess it's the breakfast we have is breakfast. I don't think it's gonna be like a culinary masterpiece.
No.
But I think it'll do the job.
As breakfast goes on, people start to stand up, go to attend to their duties, and very slowly the space is emptying. It's looking like at the end of it all, it will be Everest, Sympathy, and the rest of you that is in here. As people are filtering out, is there anyone more for anything? Like as people are leaving, does anyone else have something they're looking out for, or are you happy to sort of let the situation resolve into being alone with the two people who seem to be in charge?
Fine by me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Eventually, everyone else filters out. The door closes, and Sympathy gestures for the rest of you to sort of like slide up the table towards her. And she says, I understand that you are here for some investigatory purpose. You mentioned, I believe, giant folk when we spoke outside. Is this, you wish to be shown around the astropath more thoroughly?
If you wouldn't mind.
She
I would
nods.
like to take a look at the Chosen.
Everest looks at you, Adhira, and says, "In what manner would you like to look at those who wander?"
Observe them, see how they're holding up.
Give me a persuasion check, Adhira. Everest looks at you. She gives your outfit and the object you carry a sort of like once over, before she says, "Perhaps I could show you the duties that myself and the other sisters take in attending to those who wander. Would that satisfy your curiosity?"
It would.
Then I shall do so. Sympathy looks at you, Uther, and says, there are... Obviously, this whole structure is built by the giants. Their sculptures and text are everywhere. In a great number of places, it has been covered up by our expansions and the work that we do here. But if anyone is to know best of all, well, where everything is, Brother Timney would be able to show you the outsides of the structure. Fortunately, Brother Cooper has come down with some sort of sickness, so he'll be unable to show you the insides, but myself or Everest will be happy to guide you in her stead.
I do have a question before we get started. Purely as a safety precaution, I don't want to do anything that would interrupt the ongoings here. So I have, and I'm going to pull out like the crystal Axel gave me. I'm just going to like show it in case there's words that I may not be able to read with my understanding of the language. I have tools to assist me, but it would produce a pulse of magic kind of deal, and I would hate if that would cause problems. So I'm just wanting to make sure that's fine. Like,
Sympathy looks at the object with like a curiosity that belies someone who's never seen something before. Everest, however, holds out her hand to Uther and says, "May I inspect it?"
crud. Sure. And I'll just hand that one over.
Which crystal is this?
That was the one Axel gave me, so that is Detect Evil and Good. I was hoping no one would want to touch that one. I was just wanting to flash it and...
She lifts it and she holds it up and she sort of like looks at it and says, "Crystalm, yes?"
Correct.
As far as I understand it, this is a gift from the goddess. I see no reason it would do harm here. And then she hands it back to you with a smile.
I'll take it back. I just wanted to be careful. Some energies don't interact well with others. Astral projection is not in my wheelhouse, so I didn't want to do anything that might accidentally harm anyone.
Sympathy thanks you for your consideration, but she'll trust Everest's judgment of the artifact that you hold.
I'm going to pocket that back, so now I can just use that along the way, and no one will know the difference.
Everest looks at you, Adhira, and says, "Shall we go see one of the wanderers?"
Let's. I will get that.
How tall is this girl? Like, getting
When
up face to face now that I'm no longer a spirit.
she... I would say that she's pretty much average height for like a fully grown woman. So still a little taller than you are, Atira, I would say. Uh, Dark hair that very quickly disappears into the clothing in a sense. So like she's very covered up. She's mostly these regalia, these robes that she's wearing. Much like Sympathy, they are slightly more adorned, though not to the degree of Sympathy's robes. It sort of gives the impression of like, in like stories you have read about ancient times, it's a little, well, empressy. There's some like big shoulders to it. It very much tails behind her as she walks.
So a bit ostentatious.
It's a bit ostentatious, and you can see that there are straps on it that can be pulled and tied if someone needed to be more mobile isn't quite the right word, but like more practical about the outfit. It could be pulled in and tightened up and bound. As of this moment, it is not.
Adira has a very pleasant face as Everest walks by, but the moment Everest is like in front of her, the mouth just hard line, slanted, unimpressed. Not fully peeved, but not my favorite person so far.
Everest leads Atira away from the group, and Sister Sympathy stands and says, "Where would you all like to start? Would you like to see further back into the structure, or would you like a tour of the outside?"
If you don't mind, I don't speak giant, nor do I know much about the culture. I'm not going to be of much assistance to my companions. You said Brother Cooper was unwell.
Yes, from what I have heard of his attendings.
Then that is some manner in which I may be of assistance. I'm probably the most knowledgeable healer of the group. If you don't mind, I'd quite like to look at him and see if there's anything I can do to help.
Give me a persuasion check with advantage, Clara.
Persuasion. 26.
She gives like a half sigh of relief and says, Brother Cooper is very important to us. If you could make sure that he is going to be well, it would be a relief to all of us.
Of course. If you direct me to his room, I'll do what I can to help.
Well, we should go past it, so I'll show you to the room, and then I'll continue with the rest of your group.
Of course.
But the question remains: where would you like to see?
I mean,
You want to start with the older carvings or the newer carvings? Would be my question to the group.
I'll prefer whatever is technically more intricate or interesting. I guess I'm not knowledgeable in giant anyway. I suppose I'm mostly here for muscle.
Axel looks at her and says, is there any place that would be quieter, less disruptive to your sisterhood, your group here? She thinks for a moment and says, the back of the structure is less occupied. The upper areas where the focusing lens sits, and I think that about covers it, really. Some of the outside, perhaps. You've already left the room, Matira, at this point, so Axel turns to look at you to check something, but you're gone, and then he kind of stops and turns back.
Is it? Well, I mean, I guess I wouldn't know. I was gonna ask, is it worry or is it?
Yeah, you don't see. He just turns his face towards the door, and you're not there. Turns back towards you, Uther, and says, "It's your expertise we're relying on here, I think."
I mean, it sounds good to me. We can at least start there, be out of their way, and see if what we're looking for is elsewhere later.
Do you mean the lens at the back of the structure, or some of the outside, Uther? Sorry.
Lens in the back of the area.
Okay, so heading up first.
Outside.
Sam.
Yes.
Given she mostly tried to steer us away from the inside, exploring the insides of the building, does that sound to me like she's trying to keep us away from something?
Give me
potentially the cellar in the.
Give me an insight check.
Okay, inside. That's a 15.
15? The hesitation at the end, Dayfair, you can tell she held something back. What you can't tell on a 15 is what the motive behind it, whether that was I can't have them seeing the bodies, none of that is
Sister.
Yes.
As I mentioned, I'm also not too knowledgeable in Giant. I do have some interest in more mechanically intricate apparati.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything of the sort here that I could look at and occupy myself with while my companions do their research?
Your companion Uther has mentioned the focusing lens. There is a great deal of mechanisms and other things up there. I believe that it would probably of interest to you. I know that I know nothing of it, and yet I find myself watching its goings-on in spite of all that, really. It's quite mesmerizing.
I'm going to pat Dafer on the back. You're not getting out of the lecture yet, buddy.
I'm not sure I wish to actually learn Giant. But yeah, I assume if there's nothing you'd actually, I don't know, need looking into or the like, then I assume this is as good as any.
Oh, well, there are some comparatively much more crude inventions of Brother Timney that help supply water to the gardens and the like, but you've come all this way. It would seem a shame that you do not spend your time observing the splendor of what it is the goddess has taught us to create. She gestures sort of upwards.
Okay. Defa will take very explicit note that literally every word she mentions, in none of it points to where the impossible cellar door is, slash vault door, which we somewhat know they know of because they were literally in a walkway to it.
To be fair, Dave, on a 15, she can fully comprehend that all these gears and moving parts are some kind of complex mechanism, but a big spherical painted metal disc, as much as to you know there's some intricate stuff in there that might not occur to someone who's just big circle and wall. She leads you guys out of the room. Clara, not too far away, because this is kind of where all the living quarters is, she motions towards a set of stairs that have been added to the side of one of these internal structures, and she gestures up to the second floor, and she says, the third door along up there, it is marked with a rendition of a candle in brass. That is the room you're looking for, Clara.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
She smiles, and then gestures for the rest of you to follow her into the main hall, where she's going to lead you up a very long flight of spiral stairs. We'll cut to Adhira briefly. Adhira, you come out into the main cathedral area. Here, some of the shorter, lesser stayed individuals are sat. Everest looks at you and says, are you interested in those who have wandered for a long time or have just begun?
Those who have been here longer.
She smiles and says, I had a feeling. Please, follow me. We must go further into the structure.
I do so. Yeah.
She leads you into narrower corridors that start to snake their way deeper into the structure. You pass by some smaller chambers in which individuals are sat. You see that there are, as you walk by, there's no doors, just archways into spaces. Big circles of candles with individuals kind of sat cross-legged in the middle, and there's always two of these sisters attending these individuals in each of these more private rooms. But she keeps guiding you deeper back and back into the structure. As you walk, she says, it must be an honor traveling with one who is so closely linked to the goddess.
For a brief moment, Adhira does not know who she's referring to. Before kind of catches her attention. She's like, yes, it's certainly something, all right.
He tells me that his knowledge of his links have only just awakened, but he sees no serendipity in this.
I don't know what that word means.
She stops in her tracks for a moment and closes her eyes and turns towards you and says, you must believe that the stars guide us somewhat, yes? That our fates are bound to those stories that were written long ago?
Adhira's teeth almost sort of clench together, but she manages to unclench before she speaks. I know of a few examples.
Give me a performance check. What makes you think you are not walking alongside another example of this? I mean, what are the odds? A nobleman linked to angels travels all this way to a place where the goddess is being searched for? And she starts walking again.
Well, we weren't originally here for that. We were filling out the job, and then one of our friends in higher places asked us to check this out.
Even more coincidence.
I guess you could say that then. Do you think the Wanderers enjoy the path?
What is there to enjoy about life?
Is her back turned?
Yes. As she's walking, she's still leading you.
Twitch of an eye. There's many things. There's experiences, there's locations, there's love.
Her head nods. She's still not looking at you as she speaks. She says, I suppose those things could be called enjoyable. They would bring joy. Yes. I myself have a different answer. Would you like to know?
Yeah.
She finally reaches a, door that's set in the end, and she sets her hand against it. Not yet opening it, before she says, purpose. And then she turns the ring handle on the door and opens it up into another cathedral-like space. Adhira, looking through, you see a humanoid of gigantic proportions. Sat cross-legged is a still breathing, eyes closed giant who wanders. On different pedestals and podiums around them, there are people of various ages. What catches your attention, Natira, is there are quite clearly children on some of these pillar-like podiums who are also quite clearly old somehow, as if they've been both frozen in their progression through life, and yet time has continued to weather them.
I guess my question is more of a perception. How, in what senses are they weathered? Are they desiccated, dehydrated?
They've got wrinkles, the brow has sunk, but the proportions are still shown. The hair is sort of short and grayed a little. They're clearly well looked after. Nails are being cut, that everything's being sort of looked after. But yeah, it's hard to describe, right? But there is a youthfulness of appearance that is overlaid with the haggardness of old age.
Here is probably staggered by this sight and scale. Attention lingering on the children for but a moment before it is inevitably drawn towards the giants. What about him? What does he look like?
He has the appearance of... It makes you think of someone who would work in the woods, an almost lumberjackish sense to them. In some weird sense, you were expecting strange proportions for the giants, but it really is a scaled up human. It's hard to tell exactly how tall they would be if they stood up at Hera. At present, just sat down, there may be 20 foot in height from the floor to where their head reaches up to. Stained glass is at the back of them, and there is light coming through from behind. So you're at the very far back of the structure, and that bathes the fabric that they're wrapped in. It's almost mummy-like in a sense, the way, but it's a little looser than that kind of binding. You think the fabric might be just a soft whitish color, but with the light that spills in over it, it's every color you've ever known, right? It's all the colors of the stained glass behind them. And it's odd to say whether they are young or old, Adhira. Something about them gives the feeling of a certain timelessness, and you realize you don't know whether giants live 80 years, 100, 1,000, like, you realize you've got no idea.
Recovering from a moment of awe and stunned silence, Adhira will start taking steps forward.
You step through the threshold, and Everest closes the door behind you, and she says quietly as you're observing, I believe that no amount of new places I could tread, no amount of love could amount to the feeling you have right now looking upon this site. Can you not feel the awe of the purpose of this place?
Adhira stops. Thinks. Honestly? Not completely.
It is okay.
Oh.
It takes some time to realize the possibilities that are here. You who have bound yourself to so many things seeking the power to right problems, and yet there is one answer that is achievable here that means that no one would have to make the sacrifices you have ever again.
If I keep approaching the giant, she's not going to stop me?
No, she's just talking at you in a sense, Atira, as you walk closer.
Her voice probably fades into just muted mumbles from Adhira's perspective. I would like to personally lay my hand on, like, the giant. Like, I'm assuming he's, like, cross-legged?
Yeah, sat cross-legged. In a sense, you feel like every other wanderer has modeled themselves at, like, this feels like the first.
Hand on the shin. I need to check something with Monk, but don't I get an ability that is I can feel somebody, or like I can feel ki?
No, but I have
level.
done this many a time with other people. My issue with it in this case is we're using ki as spirit energy. So if this was a spirit, I would allow it, and you feel no sense of there being a bound spirit to this. But
can I just make a flat, like, medicine check then?
Yeah.
I'm unskilled, so it's like from the perspective of a layperson.
Yeah, give me a
You
medicine.
get
check.
a little bit of a bonus though from our training, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've
I
got
get
the
a bonus from the
D4.
dog.
Oh,
Awoo. All you can tell, Atira, is you put your hand, like, the skin is sort of cool, but not deathly cool. And as you look up, you see the slight rise and fall of the shoulders of it still taking breaths. And you see the dust in the air, or like, in the sort of, in the colored light, at dance and play. And with that, we'll move away. Clara, you find yourself in front of this, like, ramshackle set of stairs that seems sturdy enough. They're just like, there are gaps in it that let you see down below, right? And it's clearly put together with, like, wood that's been recycled from maybe, like, carts and wagons that were brought up here or gotten old and needed replacing and things like that. And then once it goes up, it sort of turns around to the side. And it's got the appearance of, like, like a motel where there's a balcony that is like a walkway and then doors. It's got that sort of layout to it as well. And I think even from here on the ground, as you look up in some of the, like, torchlight, you can see the glint of metal on a door. That's probably the candle imagery that was mentioned to you. What do you want to do?
Have I been indicated which door I'm supposed to go behind?
It's just there's no door in front of you, but once you go up, there's like she said that there was a door with like a candle on it or something like that.
Sure, I'll just go straight to the candle door.
Okay. Heading up, you pass by a couple of other doors. You can hear that there are people doing stuff down below you, but there's no one else up here with you right now, Clara. You reach the door that you're looking at. You can tell that this room is probably slightly larger, slightly nicer than some of the other rooms around it. This is someone with some degree of position, even, within this group at least. You see nothing other than the plain door before you. What would you like to do? Knock, or?
I will knock first in case he's awake and unwell, like just not feeling great.
You knock on the door. After a couple of moments, there is a slide of like a bolt or something like that, and the door opens up. A bald man with a sort of graying beard, maybe mid-40s, something like that. He's wearing his habit. He's got big rosy red cheeks, and he looks down at you with like quite bleary, watery eyes, Clara. And he says, "I'm sorry, I do not know your face." He wobbles a little as he looks at you.
No, I don't expect you would. Good morning. I'm looking for Brother Cooper.
You found me.
I hear you're not all too well, sir.
Yeah,
My
very.
companions and I have recently arrived. I have some notable skill in medicine. I thought you might benefit from a look over.
I've got medicine. It's fine.
I'm sorry, I'm not entirely sure what you mean. Everyone's rather worried about you.
He leans out the door a little, looks around, and then let's talk inside.
Clara will, I suppose, move through the space.
Door close behind you. There are some candles in here to light the space. There's a desk that's covered in like disarrayed papers, and all the paper's been flipped face down, but you can see that there's some coloration kind of bleeding through that tells you that something's on there. It's just all of it's been turned face side down. The mirror in here is broken to the point where the glass has been then pulled out and you can't see. It's not like on the ground or anything, so maybe it's been cleaned up. There's a simple cot in here, and I think you would immediately smell the smell of alcohol in the room. A spirit of some sort. As he goes and he sits down in his bed, and he says, "You're new, yeah?"
Yes, my companions and I arrived last night.
Then he like wipes his face a little, sweating. He looks at you and says, I may have told a small lie.
There is a rather substantial difference between illness and inebriation, sir.
Yeah. And the sisters will see it that way as well. But I really haven't been sleeping well lately. And this helps. It's just this morning I don't think I could. And he sort of like looks at you and says, well, you can tell.
I can tell. What's keeping you awake?
Give me a persuasion check, Clara.
It's the dog.
I can. When I fall asleep, I see. Sounds stupid. It's like a horse draped in something. Funeral bandages. I can see its ribcage. It's famished, sick. There's something about the way it moves. It's not normal. And it sometimes late at night when I'm doing my work, I can't tell if I'm drifting off or not, but I hear the sound of it moving, hooves on stone, or it doesn't sound like hooves, it sounds like bone.
Do you, by chance, see it in the mirror?
He looks over at the mirror and he nods and says, this morning when I woke up, I went to get ready and then I saw it. I don't know what I saw, but I saw the white fabric and I lashed out and then I needed to calm my nerves.
Well, I have good news and bad news. The bad news is I'm not entirely sure what it is. I can't say I've ever really come across something like that, at least not outside of folk tales. But the good news is that my knowledge of medicine extends beyond the mundane. Bear with me one moment. I'm gonna take one hit die from my pool, and I'm gonna special eye him.
Ooh, give me an insight check with advantage.
Ooh.
33.
33. Looking at this man who you can tell is terrified. Just seeing him as the alcohol melts away from your vision, you see the eyes widen in fear, and he's not looking at you actually, Clara. He's looking like through you to the corner of the room. Do you want to look entirely at him, or would you like to turn your attention to where he is looking as well?
I would also like to turn my attention to where he's looking.
Okay. You turn your head and you see a famished horse wrapped in white ribbon is an okay way to describe this, Clara. What catches your attention is the body of what would be the horse, this like rib cage that you can see the bones of as it's tightly bound in fabric. You think that's the head. And the part of the horse that would be the head seems more like the lower abdomen area. It's connected by a thin line. And then there are, for want of a better terms, there are like these tendrils that are more of this fabric just very tightly woven around. And it's that fabric is reaching out past you and seems to have like gotten him by the shoulder and gotten him by the leg. And as you're looking at it, Clara, you can tell this thing isn't like, you're seeing it, but it's not really there. It's not like an invisible creature in the room. It's more like something imprinted on, like left with him. Something has happened to him in the past. Maybe he saw something, or who knows what, but that one moment has left him with this thing attached to him. And it's so believed by him that you're seeing it almost like through him, in a sense, Clara. It's real to him, so you're seeing it here. I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to try and work out, but that's, you know, what you see immediately. You rolled a 33, so if you've got any more questions, I will answer.
I'm trying to reconceptualize it, because in my head I have a good idea about what this thing looks like, and I don't know whether it's the same as what it should be. So it's where its body, like the body of the horse should be. I think
Yes.
that's where its head
Yes,
actually is.
that's
and it has
correct.
like a false head on top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. That does match what I'm thinking in my head. Can I see anything that would indicate to me why the horse is, like, dead looking?
As you're looking at it, Clara, it gives you the feeling of, like, something trying to imitate life, but isn't very good at it. The body being the head being the body, the fact that it's covered itself in fabric, that as you look at it, Clara, it's supposed to be skin, but it's the wrong material. Like, it's something that isn't doing a good job of imitating life. It isn't knuckle of you, like, it doesn't have like a person or anything else attached to it. It's more like, it's like a legless horse wrapped in bandages with tendrils for movement instead. I think on a 33, Clara, looking at this thing, there is a sense of other that you've never had looking at anything else in your life before. Like, even looking at the miasmic, you're like, I can see that this is corrupted life. Looking at this thing, it feels so opposite to you and the stuff that you love about being in this world.
I'm gonna, I suppose, I don't want to say close my eyes, but like turn off my eyes,
Disappears.
so I don't drain myself too quickly. I see what you're talking about. The horse, or the facsimile of a horse.
He looks at you with a look that you instantly get as like, oh my god, she believes me. Like he looks at you with like a sense of like, I'm not alone. And there's almost a manic excitement in that. Is he half reaches towards you and then realizes that would be like improper to just grab hold of you, and then sits back and says, you saw it too.
I understand both your excitement at someone believing what you say, and I thank you for your restraint. The sense about it that I get is that this thing, individual, whatever it is, it's been with you for some time.
He sits and he thinks, he says, maybe, the dreams are recent, but, ever since I've been here, I've never really felt like I wasn't being watched. I thought it was the sisters, just, they can be strict about when the candles are set, and I admit I can be lax in my duties sometimes. I just thought that they were keeping an eye on me.
Something altogether else, I fear.
He thinks for a moment, and I'm going to roll a dice. 5 says, I've been here for years and years. I don't know.
whatever this thing is, it seems, forgive me, rather intent on bothering you for something. It can be a little bit hard to tell with creatures that are somewhat otherworldly as to what they actually want. And unfortunately, from the briefest of glances, I find it difficult to tell much the same.
He thinks and says, in the most vivid of these dreams, it's trying to drag me somewhere. All I know is that it wants me to go down. Like it wants to pull me into the ground itself.
Are you... is there a lock on the door?
Yeah, there's like a slidey bolt thing in the inside.
Clara's going to get up and very quietly slide the bolt across.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware that this place is built on top of something?
Thanks very much. It's like, you mean the astropath, or?
I'm unclear as to what it is. There's... She thinks about the best way to tell a half-truth to him.
Mm-hmm.
A vision of sorts. There's a door somewhere underneath or below. My companions and I have reason to believe it leads to a vault. Perhaps
the word
there's
vault.
something down there.
The word vault does. Parker's attention. He looks at you and says, "I've seen it. Yeah, there used to be things stored down there, but the sisters had us move everything away. I don't know why they asked us to do that. I just remember getting everything out of there. It's like a big circle. There's I remember there's images of giants on it, I believe.
I have reason to believe your spirit is trying to lead you down there to resolve an issue. What issue I cannot say, but I think it's fairly reasonable to say the sisters are not going to let me through the door just to bumble around.
He says, there's something else, actually, in that room. I remember there being stairs, but I have to say I walked past it recently. I don't remember any stairs at all, but I could have swore.
If you would permit it, This is incredibly improper of me. You are well within your rights to say, no, go away, you silly girl. I would like to spend the evening here. I believe that if you were to allow the spirit to show you where it might lead, perhaps we may uncover some of the problems. And while I fear you may be able to do this by yourself, I think it is entirely too risky, and that perhaps you may feel better having someone along for the ride, as it were.
If you can cure me of these dark visions, then I will do whatever you ask.
I make no promises, but, well, it's strange to say, it wouldn't be the first spirit I've tussled with, and, well, the last was actually fairly recent, so I'm in practice.
That's... Okay, then yes, I agree.
Wonderful. You may need some more time to rest, especially if this is indeed our plan, as it were. Are there any of your duties that you need attending to imminently to make sure this place doesn't fall apart while you
He says,
recover?
many of the brothers that work under me should be down below in the storage areas. You should make sure they don't go wandering. That's where the vault is too.
I'll go bring them the good news that there may be a way to ensure you feel better. It just might take a few evenings.
Thank you. Yes, that would help.
Oh, and my apologies. My name's Clara. I realised in my haste I had forgotten to mention it altogether.
And I am in no fit state to observe proper polite protocol. You already know, but Brother Cooper.
Right, I'll leave you to it.
Okay. Meanwhile, the rest of you are trudging up spiral stairs, up and up and up into a higher area, where you come out into like an observatory type structure. There are gears that line the outside walls that, in terms of size, are like... They're big. I'm trying to work out what a good way of representing the actual size is. About the size of like a normal door in a house. But obviously completely sort of spherical, but with the gear teeth. Looks like they're made of copper or brass, like older, sort of shinier industrial material in that sense. There are many pieces of glass in here that dangle from what appears to be like a metallic wire of sorts. And these drift around the room almost in a solar system-like configuration. And yet it's not a perfect orbit. They sometimes cross across the room, and sometimes they sort of like swing like pendulums. But none of them ever look like they're in danger of impacting at each other, despite the somewhat chaotic dance of their appearance. And then in the roof is the main lens. Absolutely ginormous, almost like golden glass that was the thing catching the light from a distance that you guys were seeing, the glint as you approached. And it's along a band that lets it kind of go back and forward, and also the entire ceiling looks like it rotates on these gears as well. You find yourself in the heart, or perhaps the eye of the astropath. There are giant like language on all of the rims of metal. The floor itself is painted. It's a little faded by now, but you can see images of the construction of this place, the giants that built all of it. Where would you like to start as a group?
Is there anything that would be David would be trying to look for things that could be of relevance to the whatchamacallit, to the significance of this place. But if it's written in Giant, or if there is anything written in Giant, it's kind of pointless. So he'd also, assuming there is nothing, I think he'd just perform a look at like how the mechanism of this place works. If there's anything interesting to learn here for him, but I don't think there is, unless it's about cutting lenses. This fine, I guess.
Give me an Arcana check. 16. You begin working out in your head how something like this would be built. You look at the way all the pieces fit together, and then something catches your attention that stops your train of thought. You're very good at pattern recognition, Dafer. Being a runesmith, being someone whose memory is infallible. You have this library of symbols and the way they fit together. But even if you weren't you, even if you were anyone else in the world, you would recognize the rune that is embedded in all of your work. And it sits at the very sort of core of that golden lens that dangles above your head as you look up and out, and as the light from the sun kind of filters in through, you see it embedded right there in the middle. Huge stamp of a rune.
That, I think, stops him dead in his tracks. Like he just stops moving for like a solid seconds, mind racing. He definitely like immediately categorizes all the runic patterns this is involved with, if there are any like surrounding patterns, for like later inspections, and like he doesn't delve deeper into that right now, and immediately goes for the sister and us. Sister.
Yes.
This lens, do you does it require any kinds of energy to be fed to it? And if so, what does that accomplish?
Oh, as far as I'm aware, this room operates entirely under its own power. There are several mechanisms for moving the lens, but well, some of our members in the past, I don't know, but I've been told by those that preceded me, this room has been inspected for connections to anywhere else in the structure, and it's entirely self-contained. This dome up here has operated since it was constructed without outside intervention.
And does this lens always just behave the same, as in it magnifies whatever place you look into through it?
Oh, it does more than that. It amplifies the ability for the spirit, the you that thinks and feels, to move from the body. It amplifies that which tethers us between what we are and what we feel we are.
Just to be on the safe side, Sam. That rune is not on its lonesome. There are other runic patterns involved in it, or is
There
that
are
just this one soul rune?
The soul rune is in the middle. You would expect there to be patterns closer to it, but there are actually not on the glass. It's on the metal rim of the lens. There are lots of runes you don't recognize, and a few you do. The few that you do are to do with like, this object isn't going to rust, it isn't going to corrode, like things like that. But there's a lot of runes here that you don't recognize, that are probably related to the idea of being an astral spirit, or the idea of spirit itself. That, you know, actually you might recognize some of these runes from Atira's lamp. If you've ever looked, imagine you've probably seen it, Dafer, and thought, oh, there's some runes on there. You would be able to pick out that one, like 3 of these I've seen on Atira's lamp before.
Okay. So the impression I would get is, from the effect she describes, this is not something I would just purely associate with with my own core rune, but with something where its effects are intermingled with like the descriptive rune layer on the outside of the metal bands that modify the effect.
Yeah, so
Most likely.
if Dafer considers his rune to be something along the lines of like true strength in terms of like physically modifying himself, whatever this lens is doing, it's doing something in the sense of true strength of the soul or of the connection between something. Like it's doing something else, but in the same vein, just not physical.
I mean, it's currently his best
Yes,
translation of the rune anyway.
That's why I'm being like, this is what Dafer might see. Like that's the relation as he sees it.
Yeah. Okay. Dafer is not as healthier than I am. Okay. I think Dafer would give this a much closer study, trying to. Well, actually, sister, would it be okay if I could take a look through the lens of some sorts, or does it require special preparation or abilities?
She walks over to an area that has like a curtain up and pulls it to the side, and there's like, you know, in libraries where sometimes they have ladders on rails for moving along bookcases so that you can get up to the top of bookshelves. It's like that, but it goes around a spiral rail that then like lets you go up to the hanging or the lenses and things like that. So she hands this over to you for you to examine the lens above. Uther, obviously you see Dafer get completely like, Dafer's like looking around and then just gets like sucked into his own rune project. So Uther, where do you end up paying attention?
I am basically kind of skimming the writings along the wall to try to figure out where the start is, and then I'm going to start translating from there.
Give me an investigation check.
Investigation. One second.
Yeah.
18.
18. A lot of the writing on the lenses appears to be by your eye, Uther, names. Presumably the people who put the work into the individual pieces. Like, and there's one name that comes up a ton, which is Espran, which is that, Espran. Esperon seems to be the one that made the big lens that Dafer is currently going up to, and most of like the gear work around the outside, the more impressive sort of like array stuff for the way that things swing, whereas other names seem to be on some of the smaller lenses and some other bits and pieces as well, but the main mechanism and the most impressive piece, Esperon, seems to be the name upon them. There are other sort of phrases on them as well to do with thanking the goddess for the knowledge of how to, like, on each piece it's like thank you for forging, on the lenses it's like thank you for glasswork. You know, this is a more of a rough translation, but in a sense it's like it speaks more like by the gift of whatever the thing is. But there's a suffix on gift that lets you know gift of the goddess. In that sense, there isn't like a beginning to most of the stuff you're looking at until your eyes turn to the floor, Uther. And here you see on an 18, it's what you think is this Esperan figure. And he is in conversation with himself. And something is answering back Uther. And it's not clear if it's the goddess, if it's like, if he's having a conversation with himself or not. But he's asking himself, Essentially, like, if the greater expanse of existence that the goddess describes to us is this, like, endless place and existence, why is creation here? Why are we in this place and not any other place in existence? And the voice that's talking back is basically saying things like, being told is not knowing. Knowing is to go out and to understand. And that seems to be the tantalization into building this place. This, like, you could be given an answer, but it would be
fine.
but it'd be better if you understood rather than you were told, in a sense. And that seems to be how this place came to be.
Yeah, I'm kind of just writing that down. Not like the giant text of it, but like the translated text. I do have a question, Hinder.
Yes.
We have previously discussed, like, I'm trying to think, runes that are the thing.
Yes.
Instead of, like, and that's what's happening in this room, I take it then. It's like,
there are...
Thank you for blah, blah, blah. It's not, thank you for this concept. It's like, thank you for the concept of this concept. Kind of deal. Yeah? Or
no? You are right that the words for, like, forging and other things like that are written down there are also the prime rune for those things. So it is, in a sense, not just saying it like it is it. Yeah, I get what you're trying to say. I'm trying to find a good way of phrasing it. There are very powerful runes embedded into all of these things that are the prime examples of all of the things that they are talking about as well. Which, to you, Uther, answers the question of, like, where's it getting its power from? It has more rune power than a lot of places could gather even now, right?
lifetimes.
Yeah.
If there's any of those I am unfamiliar with, I'm going to make notes of those as well.
You would have the ones for glass blowing, forging, and masonry is probably the best translation I can give you.
And forging, you said?
Forging, glass blowing, and masonry.
Gotcha. Okay.
As the two... Oh, go on, Uther.
I was going to ask if the name Esperin meant anything to the lady here.
She shakes her head. No, and she says, I'm afraid not.
Okay.
The names of
Worth a
those
shot.
who built this place are much lost to us. You say Esperin is that this figure
Esperin?
as she gestures to the ground?
It appears to be the one that made your astral projection machine.
Then we owe this Esperin much thanks. It is by his work that we still have a chance. She thinks for a moment and says, I have seen this figure and others in other works as well, but yes, this one most of all.
He wanted to know why we were here. And something, basically told him to look and see.
A good phrase. To look, to see, to find. Those things are important. They were then and they still are now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep going around the room and looking. I know you was trying to do something. Sorry.
Yeah, so Sympathy would, as the two of you are doing this, and Axel is kind of investigating around as well. Caliban, you're up here with them as well, I believe. So Sympathy would look at you, Caliban, and say, my junior, she is overzealous sometimes. I apologize if she made you feel awkward at all.
It's fine. It's a not so different from being that of a stemming from nobility, but
I am
with a little bit more.
sure that wherever you go, there are people seeking things of you. I understand that somewhat myself.
It is. I will say it is a little bit more tolerable here.
Can I be a bother and ask a question that might be also an imposition upon you?
Do ask.
I know you say you've only recently come into this connection, but when you do the things you can do you feel the goddess out there at all? Like she still lingers somehow? That you're connected to something?
I'm gonna take a moment to think about it for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And because this did make me realize that I've never actually gone into like Caliban's whole actual faith of the goddess, just what he is rather than what he believes.
Yeah.
And with what I think Caliban, his beliefs in it,
yeah,
I think I will say Caliban just sort of he nods and he sort of says, I believe that the goddess still remains in one form or another still here, but I think it's just a matter of I'm just given more gifts than others. I don't think it's a matter of greater importance, but rather a matter of greater responsibility. Those who are given more must those who are given more of the goddess's favor are expected greater duties, I guess I would say.
At the beginning of your response, she's like breathes outside, and you can see that she was holding on to some tension that she probably didn't know she had. Some quibble of doubt that maybe all of this was for nothing. But when you say you still feel something, that sort of fades off of her a little, and she relaxes a little. You talk about those who've been given certain gifts and responsibilities. She looks at you with a certain like focus and says, yes, responsibility. You're right.
And I from what I was able to like deduce from like their whole sort of what was it?
Oh, like
fracture in ideology.
Yes.
It was Everest that placed a greater importance on humanity is like doesn't have the responsibility to handle what's given to them.
So Everest believes in like the feebleness of humanity. Is probably a good way of putting it. Whereas Sister Sympathy here just believes that looking is a thing that people are allowed to do, and therefore she will make sure that they can, so long as they wish to.
So basically what Caliban is trying to tell Sympathy is that he thinks that while he does have all these gifts, he is, I guess, normal, but he just has like relatively normal, but like just has more responsibilities with what is given to him.
Mhm.
And whether there is more or less importance does not detract from the relevancy of whether a human being is important.
She says, as you have been given the gift of your connection to the Archangel Zemes, I have been given the gift to be here now in this place of the goddess's strength as well. I will seek to fulfill the responsibility of this place of power as you do the responsibility of the power of your heritage. Thank you for this conversation, Caliban.
I am glad to have given you whatever peace of mind, whatever may have troubled you.
As Uther and Dayfra are like, Dayfra, you pore over the runes. I'm happy that you've got like a full recollection of everything here. If you would want to, you're not gonna solve anything in this moment, but there's something for you to work on in a sense, right, Dayfra? You've got a record of everything that's here now. She looks at Uther and Dayfra and says, "Actually, this giant figure does show up one other place in particular. There's a chamber further down. There's been some oddities around it, but there are depictions of this giant around a large metal wall of sorts."
Apologies.
Would
You
like
say
us to
depiction.
look at it?
Apologies. You say depictions of a giant. How do you know it's Esperin?
Well, it looks as this individual does on the ground here. If your companion Uther is correct about it being Esperin, then I believe it to be the same person, or same depiction.
I thought that was just text down there. I didn't think it was actually a visual.
As Stafer looks down for the first time from the lens, like having had his neck crooked up for like an hour.
Welcome back to reality.
There's gravity.
Back to you, Adhira. Everest has walked away a little towards some of the other attendants who are looking after people in here, because there's more people in here than just the two of you, who are, making sure people are fed and so on. She turns towards you. She's wearing flat shoes, but the heels and the front are solid, boiled and hardened leather. So it has that sort of clack as she walks across the stone in this echoey space. And then she looks at you here and says,
In the space between these scenes, I would like to get a silly question out today.
Yeah.
Are these people being fed and
Yes.
watered? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. That's what you're witnessing.
How much would the giant eat? Whether I have wordlessly asked another attendant or I have watched, how much food is being given to him?
Well, in this moment, you're not seeing the full picture of what happens here across a 24-hour period, right, Adhira?
Yeah.
So looking at it, it's hard to say. There is food up there and there is drink up there. There are big brass offering bowls, the kind that you're used to seeing where you're from, used for hot coals and rituals and things like that, the kind of thing that people would throw offerings into. Here is being used to store this giant's food and drink. Seeing your attention turn up that way, Everest says, this is the importance of the work of Brother Timney. As you can imagine, he consumes a fair amount more than, well, perhaps equal to all the other wanderers combined.
Where do you get all the food?
It is grown, it is offered by the farmlands below. This is
The candles?
Yes, this is a place of plenty. Animals such as pigs and other things are reared here. Their fat is rendered, it is turned into candles.
You'll have to forgive me for it, yeah. I don't really debate religion that much.
What is there
as
to
often as
debate?
it comes up.
It is real.
Well, purpose, fate, prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
You say those that are called, they are driven here, and they have some urge, some ability to cast themselves and their spirits up and out.
Anyone can cast their spirit from their body. It is a technique that can be learned. However, yes, it is the stars that guide most people here, which is why I think it is amusing that the rest of your group, yourself, feel you are any different.
If I were to cast my spirit, where would it go? Would it go to the stars above, or do I have leeway?
Give me an insight check, Atira.
I need you to nat 20, girl. Close enough.
In this moment, in her face, Atira, you see that she doesn't truly know the answer to your question. What? And she pauses for a second, and then says, "I have been told that there is a certain pull. The same destination that the stars writes upon our lives is also focused through that lens. And your soul feels that destination and is pulled upwards. And yes, then you find yourself among the stars. We believe that if someone is called here, if it is their destiny to wander the stars, then it must be their destiny at some point to stumble upon the goddess, because why would it be written in the stars that we are to wander for nothing?
Who knows? But I did feel that pull last night. When I dream, I can leave my body. It was a gentle tug, but I believe everyone here would feel that same pull, regardless or not of whether they came here on pilgrimage. Well, who's to say that's goddess?
Everest looks up, almost like through the ceiling, out at the stars that are beyond. That, in her mind's eye, she's seeing the path between them to a future where everything is okay. And then she kind of like turns her head to look at you, Atira, and says, "You experience so much that proves I am right, and at every turn you deny it.
I take a step closer so that my voice can't be heard by anyone but her. The goddess, as real as she is, has not given me anything in this life. Everything that I have obtained, I have done through my own blood and tears. I have no gifts. I only have what I have had the strength to take. I have met a boy. Go, yes.
Atira, there is a look of such contempt on her face, and sometimes when Uther fights, you feel a wave of hostility come off of her, that like off of him, sorry, that and in that moment, as you say, she's done nothing for you, that your life is independent of this, that blah blah blah. Yeah, you feel that, and for a brief instant, oh, she wants to raise her hand. She wants to just strike you as hard as she can, and that fury dies as she kills it. And you can almost see it in her eyes, like this part of herself that is so passionate, and like she grabs it and she takes out a knife and she stabs this passion in the heart, and coldness sweeps across her features, as with the dying of that rage is the death of her care in anything you say anymore. And she turns on her heel and she doesn't wait for you to finish, and she walks out of the room and leaves you.
And Hero watches, calms the growing, I want to say, impassioned fury, the rebellious urge, and once she's out of earshot, just mutters in Lamshi, "Bitch."
I think
I'll stick around this room though.
Is that, yeah? What do you want to investigate in this room, Atira? What?
I don't know. I think there's just like a lot of, despite how iconoclast Adhira is, these are people being kept alive, and the kids are being weathered down, like they're aging. There's oddity here.
Mm-hmm.
Curiosity. I think even if she does not know it and could not insight what is doing all this, she would watch out of curiosity.
Give me an insight check with advantage. Through your connection with Terminus, really, in this moment. 13. Terminus's voice comes to you. He doesn't leave his lamp in this place in case you get caught a pagan witch and burn.
She's got a frog!
Kill her! She's got a familiar. You hear... Of all the things that were said in that exchange, there's something that you said that stands out to me, Atira. Who's to say it's the goddess? She spoke of other beings alike her. We know of the Scourge. She cautioned against the stars, but she did not forbid it. This place was built in spite of her warnings. These messages, these destinies, not all are of the two that have visited this world. Surely there must be others out there that want their influence to be felt. I don't know for sure that that's what's going on here, but I think if we believe that this place, this world beyond ours, is as vast as we have been told, then the odds are it is something else that is out there calling to us.
And tilts her head down. It's a terrifying thought.
Stop speaking out loud. No one else can hear me.
She wasn't speaking out loud.
Oh, okay.
It was like,
In which case,
I think I have mastered. Yeah.
Other than that, it's here. Go on.
Do you think they might have influence over the prophecies of this world? Do you think they've caused any of the prophecies that we know of?
From what the goddess told us, as far as we have left in words and scripture, she spoke of from the very beginning that the beings from whence she came left messages in the stars because they were the only things that lived long enough for them to have enough influence over them in order to write something down. So my answer is maybe so.
In his direct connection to Adhira's emotions, there is that combination of confusion, not exactly panic, but fear. Fear of the unknown, of the scope and scale of what is laid before her. It lingers, and then she kills it. I think our chaperone just left us. What say you would take this opportunity to snoop a little? There's that door in the cathedral, the altar.
I think, Adhira, as you go to snoop back, you'd probably walk into the group being led by Sister Sympathy to the altar, and probably the same Clara. I don't know whether you would want to snoop or whether you'd be kind of heading towards where you knew the group was, but...
Yeah, and I'd want to catch up with everyone else.
In which case, you would all sort of cross paths heading towards the altar, as Sister Sympathy says, to Clara in particular. Is the good brother well, Brother Cooper?
There is something peculiar that ails him. I believe I may have some sort of solution, but it will take some time.
It sounds serious. I hope it is not too troubling.
I assure you he will make a full recovery.
Good. Thank you. And Natira, where is... she looks around for Everest, but...
She had other things to attend to.
Give me a deception check, I suppose. Sympathy frowns, says, I do hope you didn't... To go wandering is to potentially interrupt some very old rituals.
I just ran into you too. I turn to Dafer and say, they have a giant here.
Wait, they have a giant?
I mean, that's
They have a giant here.
That is fascinating. It is, however, also nothing we can act upon, as I assume, like directed as the sister, that said giant is to remain in their meditative state.
From her tone of voice, it is very much, if you want to seat a giant, you can go seat a giant. There is more likely not going to be another chance to do so.
Look, guys, they have
Dayford
a
does
giant
not-
zoo.
Dayford does not particularly care. Like, he cares about runecraft. He does not particularly care about the giants in and of themselves. There is a reason he does not speak giant. He speaks Beneric. If that dude was an automaton, we would be speaking having a very different scenes right now.
He'd be in standby mode anyway.
Mechanicus
Can I go
and
look at the
Deptus
giant
asked,
real quick?
Or a Trice Mechanique, did at least cut in it.
This Sympathy looks at you, Tyr, and says, Everest sought fit to show you the first wanderer. She must have believed you have some potential.
I bite the inside of my mouth. I do not know what Adhira would say, but it would not be something smooth. It would be...
Give me a straight charisma check.
Mm-hmm. That's very kind of her.
You do have a d4 on top.
Go gadget.
16. You can see Adhira, she's somewhat troubled. You can kind of see in her face that she understands that there must be some sort of falling out between the two of you. She knows how Everest can get, and you're an outsider. But from you smoothing things over, you can tell in her face she's kind of like, she's gonna let this dog sleep, as it were, right? She's not gonna keep poking it. But she looks at you, Uther, and says, I didn't realize you had such interest in seeing a giant.
Well, it's kind of a extremely limited claim that you can make, I guess, that you've seen one.
Is it?
Even to my knowledge, they're almost all gone.
You see a sort of like mild shock on her face, like her eyes sort of like lift, her eyebrows raise a little, and she says, I knew growing up that there were stories of their time having passed. I didn't quite realize. I mean, when I came here, he's been here longer than I have. Huh. Let's go down first. It will take some time to lead you through the passageways to the far end, Uther.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm certainly fine with you visiting the first wanderer. I think you've all proven.
I just wonder if your first wanderer happens to be your builder.
She thinks for a moment. It's like, I wouldn't say so. From the depictions, they do not seem alike to me. But I don't know. Maybe
worth a shot.
But she leads you guys down the staircase behind the altar. It's pretty much a straight shot from here. You like go downstairs through a corridor, downstairs through a corridor, downstairs through a corridor. It branches off a couple of times. And you can see, Clara, as Cooper said, there are some people down here that are like tending to storerooms that have been shoved down here, basically. But eventually you are led into a room that is empty apart from yourselves. Looking around, Clara, this staircase that was mentioned to you, you see no signs of it in the ground whatsoever, no seam or anything like that at a glance as you're looking around. But what you all do see is the big vault door at the far side. There are depictions of 4 different giants, one at the north, south, east, and west of the big metal door. And each of them, they hold their hands towards the middle of the door. And where their hands come together, there appear to be like big indents into the door, like holes into the door, basically. That's what you all see, just having a look around, just glancing around.
If Sister Sympathy makes no motion to like further explain what she knows about the room, Dafer would mostly walk deeper into the room, careful to like keep an eye out for, I don't know, any rune trap on the floor or whatever, as this is giant work, and try to get a grasp of like the mechanism through which this vault door might work, given the indentations, like what the shapes of the indentations would look like, if they are just cosmetic or functional in some sense.
Yeah, as you walk forward, Sympathy would kind of walk with you. She's perfectly confident walking into this space. She seems not perturbed as she walks beside you. But she will say, my predecessor informed me that this space was at one point lined with artifacts and treasures, this chamber that we are in. However, over the ages, they've either been stolen or bartered away. However, this has never been opened to my knowledge. I couldn't even say what lies beyond, but from what I understand, the treasures that were in this chamber were of no small value, so perhaps what lies inside is of even greater import. I do not know. Give me an Arcana check, David.
Can I help him if he wants it?
Yeah. Arcana with advantage. 19. For all the runic magic giants adore, you see not an inscription of rune or giant language upon this vault door. Accidental rhyming there.
Accidental ass.
You do see 4 giants of different crafts, I would say. There is a jeweler on the far left of the door. There is what appears to be like a tree surgeon on the north of the door. On the south of the door is it's like a giant with like a chisel, maybe some sort of engraver or sculptor. And on the far east of the, like on the right side of the door, you see what appears to be a botanist or farmer. And you see that their hands all come together, holding tools of their trade, and then there are openings that are like big enough for a giant to reach into. So for you, like, you could get into this opening and walk into it if you wanted to, although they're a little bit off the ground, so they're like, you would need to jump or be boosted or something like that. But
okay, one second. So for my understanding, it's when you speak of what do you call it? Giant craftsmanship thingies. So this is basically just the 4 giants. You were more detailedly describing the depiction of the giants themselves, or somewhat like is dedicated for objects.
It is a depiction of the giant itself.
Okay, and so they one of their hand is reaching out with the tool in hand.
Yeah,
or
so
is it the free hand that's reaching out?
This is the circular vault door, and then you've got the 4 depictions of giants, and then each of them reaches out with a tool or something towards the middle, which means that there are these like 4 openings in a circle around them in the center that are about the size of like a giant's arm width, or for you guys, big.
Okay, and they're all point.
And they all point
all
towards the
pointing
center.
They're all pointing towards a specific indentation too.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
So for Dafer's much smarter brain than mine, this would, I assume, look just as obvious as it is to me. That like the riddle to this seems to, I don't know, apply something associated with that trade to the specific indentation. Is like, does the indentation have anything that looks like you can place something there or the like?
Well, I mean, you could place a lot of things in there. It's a huge opening, ultimately. Like, Dafer, you could get in there.
Fuck.
And you could...
Place my book in it.
You take your book out and you throw it across the room into one of these openings, and it disappears into the darkness.
Why did you do that?
Each of the giants clearly has a craft assigned to them, and each of their hands is clearly attached to one of the openings. You could interpret it as maybe that has something to do with it. I won't confirm or deny. I would just say that that is a possible interpretation.
Looking around the room, is there anything related to the craftsmanships of these four giants that might not might be more stably attached to the room, so it hasn't been stolen yet?
Dave, for looking around, no. There are paintings on the walls of like similar things, right? Like there are paintings on the walls of giants doing these four crafts. But there's not like a giant chisel attached to the wall that you can pull out and put in the hole. Like there's nothing like that, unfortunately, Dafer. Not that you can see.
So the hole is downwards. Like it's not something like if you set it in there, you can easily pull it back out if it's not accepted.
The hole is in the vault door, so like it's horizontal to you. You could walk into it, and it would be like walking down a tunnel.
Going off of the idea that this is similar to like our earlier path up, I have my gold bangle from the city below. If I set that in the hole for the jeweler, what happens? Albeit this will be done reluctantly. I know how much this is worth. And
Are you throwing it up there? Are you running up the wall and, like, walking into the tunnel with the object? Because, like, you're saying set it in, but that piece of jewelry is tiny, and the hole is big enough for you to walk down.
I mean, could I get it with my aim?
You can absolutely throw it. Like, you just did the book. That's definitely harder to throw than a piece of jewelry.
Yeah, I'll try to throw the jewelry into the hole.
You throw it in, Atira. By what you can see, like, nothing lights up or glows or clicks or any, like, nothing weird happens.
Just for once, I beg we think before throwing things across the room.
I did think on this one. I thought on this one.
To be fair, I was going to pitch something similar. In this case, not with the book. We're going to fish the book out.
Yeah.
So Timothy says, was that a text on jewelry, or?
Second. Yes.
I see. As far as I'm aware, offerings have been made to these openings, and no such luck.
I am going to go get my book back.
Yeah.
And possibly my jewelry, but I also want to investigate the insides of these holes.
Give me an investigation check.
Crunch me the gears.
Heading inside, once you get into the dark, you can tell that the walls of this place are metal. You can't see in the dark, Adhira, so you don't have a lot of light to work with right now, but you can feel it's smooth metal, and it goes maybe like 5 foot deep, and then it ends in like putting your hands out in front of you and putting your hands, it's like a flat surface that's the same copper or brass or something like that you put your hands against, and you don't feel any magic or anything like that.
Would it be an actual physical key that would need to fill up the inside of all of this?
On a 19 investigation, obviously do you want to like run up the surfaces and like touch things to like work out if there's anything else in there, or like I don't know how far you want to go in your investigation, Atira?
I think we are starting to touch upon a thief in a vault, and I think she is drawn towards the concept of treasure, and she wouldn't just leave this half-assed. I will start investigating the others to the best of my mundane knowledge.
Running up the wall and like running your hand across it, it's a perfectly smooth. They're 5 foot deep, Daver. They're perfectly smooth. There's no sort of indentation or indication that like if an object was inserted in here, it would press on a thing that then made a like there's no mechanical thing that tells you this is where a big key slots into it here.
Adhira's head pokes out from one of the holes, and she kind of half shouts down to Sympathy. Do you have a list of all the things that were taken from this room? Maybe they did leave some of the, keys, objects for this.
Sympathy shakes her head and says, all things were taken or traded away, I'm afraid. Yes, Uther.
Hinder. The glass, the lenses in the other area.
Mm-hmm.
What shape were they in?
Also a circle. The hanging ones are smaller than the openings, and the big one is bigger than the openings, Uther. So it doesn't look like they would fit in there. Okay,
that was what I was pondering. Is like, I wonder if these two areas connect. Okay.
Those of you with perception proficiency, so I think Dafer and Atira are inside these areas. So Clara, Uther, and Caliban, all three of you give me a perception check.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, and I explicitly do not get to make a perception check because I'm placed inside of them, right?
You are in the hole. Uther and Caliban, when Atira threw the jewelry in, I said there was no like reaction or anything like that. And as Dafer holds this thing into the opening, this Vangi rune carving thing, nothing happens there either. However, once Dafer and Atira are fully inside these tubes, very faintly, like weakly, does the outline of these giants begin to react. There's like a very faint arcane glow that does seem to correspond with them physically entering the space, although it doesn't feel like it's complete. It's like power is beginning to come back, but doesn't. It's like an engine turning over.
Ooh. Okay. We can work with this. Hey, guy. Hinder, remind me again, because I have the memory of a goldfish.
Mm-hmm.
I have a tree surgeon,
in the
which
north.
Is a phrase I have never heard before.
Mm-hmm.
I had to look that one up. Tree surgeon.
Yeah.
What else?
Tree surgeon in the north, a botanist type individual in the east. In the south, a carver, and to the left hand side, so I forget the west, there is a jeweler. No, not jeweler. Jeweler. Yeah.
Clara, do you fancy yourself a plant person or a tree person?
I'm gonna need you to re-ask the question based on the fact that trees are plants.
Okay, yes, but would you say your expertise would be botany or tree? Henry, you're fucking with me on this one because she's right. That's the same fucking shit. What
Well,
are you doing?
There are definitely specialties. The tree surgeon is most certainly a term, and a botanist is most certainly a term.
I don't know that I'm either of these. I suppose I'm probably more of a tree surgeon than a botanist.
Pop in that hole real quick.
Sure, I guess.
Clara, as you clamber up and get into the opening, Uther and Caliban observe that same spark of like an engine turning over, of the fact that something's trying to react to Clara being in there, but it's not fully working.
Okay. Well, what's the empty one right now?
The botanist. Or perhaps more of a farmer as well, as another term.
I will slide down and stand into the farmer botanist one.
There is no real reaction from it, and the one you were stood in, Atira, stops turning over, as it were.
Okay.
So I got a reaction out of holding the bangle in the jeweler one. I do not get a reaction out of the botanist.
More specifically, because Clara walked into the tree surgeon space without holding any sort of tree surgeon tools, as it were. It seems like you standing in the jeweler opening got a reaction at here. Nothing to do with the jewelry whatsoever.
Does anyone have an interest in farming?
It's you, Uther. It's poison craft, surely.
Accusations. I have crafted exactly one poison.
Exactly what?
You know what I mean. It's using nature to your own advantage. A tree surgeon is someone who diagnoses problems, which is why I stepped into this one. You're the one who uses nature to solve your own problems. I think it's you. And it makes sense that Angelarium Boy is the one left over.
I'm going to shrug and walk towards the hole. It can't hurt anything, I don't think.
Uther, it doesn't react to you, no. It doesn't seem to respond to you as you step into the botanist.
lean out of the hole, point at Clara, and go, "Ah!"
Proof I am not a poison maker.
Adhere is still standing in the same...
At least once.
Still standing in the same hole as you, Uther just looks at you and goes, "Giant riddles are bullshit."
Sister.
Yes.
Do you have a hand or particular interest or skill in farming?
They grow everything
Or
here.
just plants in general.
I wouldn't say I do, no. I mean, most people around here are farmers. It's sort of the thing we do, I suppose.
Would you humor me and stand in that spot for a bit?
If someone can help me up there. Axel says, "By your permission, may I pick you up?" She says, "Yes, certainly." And then he, bridle carry, one jump leaps up into that space. And as she is placed in there, it does start to turn over.
I will go back up into the jewelry spot.
It begins to do the same thing, react weakly, but not fully.
What are we missing?
Clara, give me a medicine check.
Sure. 28.
Adhira wouldn't quite notice this, but even in the dark, as you're in this sort of like strangely metal tube, the metallic smell of copper somewhat masks the sort of rusted brown smell of what you think to be dried blood that is like old stains within the copper tube.
I'm gonna come to the edge of the cabin so I don't step outside and ruin whatever's happening. There's blood in here.
David immediately steps outside because that potentially means this might be an automatic blood sacrifice machine, and he is not interested in triggering that.
To the, like, Axel suddenly goes, hey, wait, and then you hear shink as Sister Sympathy slices a line across her hand and smears it across the copper wall that's right next to her without a moment's hesitation.
Had a girl.
And all of a sudden, the section that she is in glows to life. She kind of looks at her hand and says, "It wanted my blood?"
Well, that answers
sis-
that one.
All right, Terminus, you got a knife?
He pulls out a knife.
I shouldn't be surprised. I will do the same thing.
That knife.
Probably not. It's like a stolen bread knife from one of the
Roll-
East Academy.
Roll me a d4.
Look, you asked for a knife.
Use two points of health as you run your hand across the inside, and the section you're in. Wait, Adhira, do you go to the section on the left to do so, or do you stay where you are? Sorry,
I'm going back to the one that reacted me to do.
Okay, cool. In which case, it glows.
Can I take that out of my temporary hit points, or does that need to be
No,
actual hit points?
because you actually have to bleed, right? Like, so it's not even coming out of your shell barrier in a sense. You've cut yourself to do that.
Okay, so I'm 50 HP. I will keep my 8 temporary hit
Yes,
points.
that's perfectly fine.
Can I, when I damage myself with the knife, can I use my charge and get myself?
No, you may
No.
not.
I found it, guys. Infinite HP.
You'd have to punch yourself with the necrotic hand, I think. But, I guess the question comes to Dafer and Clara as to whether they'll do the same or not.
Clara's gonna, I suppose, prick a finger
Mhm.
on the blades of her whip. It doesn't state that I need to slash open
No.
my whole palm, just that I need to be bleeding a little bit.
You take 1 point of damage, and it does spring to life as you take a more measured approach. Dafer.
I'll hold up my knife to Dafer.
Thank you. I left my kitchen utensils back in the room, so that was about to become very awkward with me just having gloves.
That wouldn't be sanitary for the kitchen utensils.
Yeah, that too. And David just pricks his pointer, or actually pricks his thumb, and has that drop down.
As you press as you press the blood in, your section glows, and the back wall of the tube starts to slide out. So you guys are forced to jump out, basically. At which point, the image of 4 giants stood in a circle shifts into a very, very old representation map of the continent on which you exist. To the south, Dulukop. To the east is a big sprawling Trismere that goes up through Vangi and into an area that's no longer occupied. To the north, Heaven's Pillars, and to the west, the Deserts of Laments, as the vault door slides open. Inside, you are hit by, in Pulp Fiction, where they open up the case, and the gold light spills out. All just golden light springs out of this vault as ancient, ever-burning torches light wealth and objects. And Sister Sympathy, by the goddess, look at it all.
Wow.
Maybe the real treasure was the friends we made along the way.
Adhero looks back at. Did Claire actually say that?
Yes.
That door disagrees. That door is of the opinion the real important thing is the blood we found.
Well, the blood of our friends we made along the way.
That's... Okay, yeah, I can agree with that one.
Yeah.
Sister
So I
Sympathy...
pick up a coin.
Sister Sympathy absentmindedly tears a piece of her, like, nice vestments and wraps it round her hand as she walks in, trailing her fingers through just piles of some modern, some truly ancient gold coins, gems, and having slipped down from the top of a pile is an all too familiar notebook, Clara.
Familiar notebook.
You offered
What?
it, yeah?
The
I know
one
what
that you
this is.
sacrificed.
I got my notes back.
As you pick up your book, you realize that every offering to use those lifts has come to this room at some point or another, and standing before you is a hidden, accumulated wealth of essentially toll road taxes.
Not what I was expecting, but pleasant nonetheless.
There are also, upon different plinths and other things, a variety of other objects. Daggers, musical instruments, bottles. You see there is a cape, amulets, a staff of some kind made of twisted black wood. And yeah, gold, gems, art. Dafer, yeah, most of the objects on the plinths ping up to you, Dafer, as you turn Detect Magic on.
Okay. Well, I would like to take a look. I would also like to particularly examine the ones that have more interesting looking material, or like anything that would grab Dafer's craftsmanship eye more.
Give me 1 second to take a look at these and consider. There is, in the sense that it is very weird, you can see there is a dagger on one of these pedestals that appears to be both at once some kind of wax and metal.
Good?
Nah, I'm slowly dying from the inside out, Caliban, as we all do for the next 30 years. Now, looking at Sister Empathy, like, is she still reacting? How's she doing? Is she having a heart attack?
It's not a heart attack. It's there's a lot of
Just solved all their money problems.
there's a lot of consideration of possibility going on, and I mean it's her life has just completely changed, right? Like the lives of everyone here has just completely changed, and that takes some time to think through.
Check. Dafer is right now unclear on what to act on, because like he himself would be like, okay, how do we hit the most profit out of this as a group, as we will never come back to this place again. However, I've also been given directive to not be a dick. So David is like, ah. So he looks at Axel and is like somewhat motions to the areas to the plinth. That
Axel
looking at-
looks at System and says, might we catalogue the objects here, just to see if they're safe, what they're capable of, and I know this might come across as callous, but I do not think this door would have opened without the work of my students here. Perhaps you would be willing to part with some of these treasures in exchange for this service. She thinks for a moment and says, I would know what they do before I part with them. I think it is fair what you say, that even the breadth of individuals required to open the door, those who are called here are mostly from Trismere. Please take a look around at your heart's content, and we'll discuss more once I have. Yes, once we know more.
Once you've processed.
As she takes the seat in like a gilded throne that she just sits upon without really thinking, she's just like, oh thank god, a chair, and sits down. It's just solid metal, silver and gold that she sits on and thinks.
Maybe she's secretly a descendant of the Empress.
Maybe she's just lightheaded from cutting a fucking hand open.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Is there
That can't possibly be it.
Is there anything in particular people would like to look at? We've got the candle dagger, a violin, a bottle with some kind of swirling black smoke in it, a jet black, what appears to be kind of a tennis ball type thing, but it seems to be made of, leather or something like that. A rod, which has a cage at the end of it, and has something glowing on the end of it. A pair of shimmering boots, a scarf, an amulet, a cape that looks kind of worn, a book, a dress, more bottles. The staff is there as well, of twisted kind of black wood.
I think I'm torn between the book and the rod. So I think those two she would look at.
Which would you look at first?
The book.
Heading over to the book. It's a big, heavy book, and the pages are quite thick. The binding itself is unimpressive. Do you want to open it up?
Yeah, does it got pictures?
It doesn't have pictures. Instead, it has what appears to be flowers pressed between pages. They are bright violet petals that have been preserved. And as you look at them, Adhira, you can't help but draw a distinct color similarity between the petals and gloaming powder.
Concern. How many pages and are all of them with these different?
There are 5 pages of these petals, and then there are a few empty ones as well. So there's 5 pages of the same pressed flower, basically. So 5 pressed flowers in total.
Big flowers.
Looking at the staff, Clara, it is made of wood from your homeland. However, something has been done to it that's darkened it. It's kind of twisted around itself, so it's like a knotted wood of maybe 4 or 5 different trees, and then it blossoms into kind of like what would look like the top of a tree in winter with all the leaves missing. It looks like there's space for something to be inserted into that top, although there isn't anything inserted into there right now, Clara. You also see that there's some kind of like sap in between the seams of where the trees wrap together, and it's quite clearly magical. If you put even a finger upon it, you can feel that it is a magic that wishes to attach to you in some way. Does anyone want to look at anything else?
Was a description of the rod.
The staff.
The staff. So the staff is 2 trees entwined with one another.
Kind of like more like 5 pieces of different trees entwined.
Okay. I mean, Dafer would. I think Clara stated her or staff dress, Lyland.
Well, I mean, Atira's looked at one thing, Clara's looked at one thing. Would anyone else like to pick something?
You mentioned
Shoes.
something about a candle dagger.
Yeah, candle dagger. Okay. Shoes. There's no soft way of playing this, Dafer. The shoes look like they're made of night sky and stars. They're sort of like jet black. The stars in them twinkle as far as you can see. They are like lace up hiking boots. And you also notice that while they are set upon a pedestal, they never physically touch the pedestal. They always hover about a few centimeters off of any surface that you place them against.
Okay.
However, you seem to be able to touch them.
Okay. Do they also meow at me?
They do not meow, no.
But then it must be just kept in front of me. Sorry.
Caliban. The dagger, you immediately realize, is an angel-forged weapon capable of destroying a soul. It looks to be... It's like a quick, almost like an assassin-y kind of weapon. It also, as you put your hand on it, you innately can feel that it possesses within it, like, it can light candles and seemingly, like, produce a blast of colors akin to firing a rainbow point blank into someone's face.
So it's color spray.
Except you can't choose when it color sprays, only at critical moments will a rainbow appear.
Incredible. I'm just gonna keep that in the back pocket, knowing full well that this could possibly deny me an afterlife.
Am I missing someone? Uther, is there something in particular you would like to look at?
What hasn't been looked at yet?
Threadbare cape. There's a few different bottles, like potion-y type things in here.
Hold on, I'm gonna send you something.
And there's the rod as well, although I'm not sure if someone else was. Oh no, I think Atira was going to look. I think Atira was going to look at the rod. Sorry,
Yeah.
Oh, then I guess I will. Thank you for that, Caliban. Very cool.
There is a scarf. I don't know if that would draw your attention.
Okay, I'll look at it.
Walking over to it, before you touch it, it is a scarf of 4 different colors. There's blue, green, sort of like an ambery color, and a bright red. Upon touching it, the fabric shifts into whichever color you're like thinking about the most. And as you think about, say, the blue one, it becomes covered in images of like snowflakes, and as you think about the red one, you get more summery iconography on it, as this seems to be a scarf that has something to do with the 4 different seasons, and it seems to react to whatever it is you feel at that time.
Hinder, can I argue Arcana?
Yeah, you make an Arcana check.
I'm vibe checking for abjuration.
See?
1 second. 19.
19. The school is slippery. In a sense, like the kind of magic that you're feeling from it shifts as it shifts through the seasons. I think Uther, having recently been to the Fairfolk and been around Terminus for a long time, you can tell that there is some... It is not that this is like possessed by a spirit, but some spirit has enchanted this, and its magic is either tied to one or more spirits. So like, it's being powered from a distance by a very old spell cast by spirits.
Interesting.
The rod, Adhira, going up to it and picking it up.
Yes.
You get a feeling from the rod akin to the feeling you get when you look at Caliban's wings. There is a sense of divinity coming from the end of the rod. I think it's a wand, and I can't remember if Axel ended up with it or if someone else did. If no one has it, then Axel does. So you get a sense of the divinity like you do from Caliban's wings, but more than that, it feels not unlike a shell. Almost like a divine vessel of power. Or a vessel of divine power might be a better way of ordering those words.
I pick it up, spin it over twice in my hands. I have Terminus on my left side. I'm going to use it like a right-handed cane.
It's too small for that, so it's about, it's kind of like the size of like a juggling pin.
Okay. Can I pick it up to Axel and have him identify it?
He says, I can do this for 7 of the objects we have here. I think that covers most of them, but not all of them. Do we want to check this one?
It has a divine feeling to it, so may be important.
He pulls out the wand, and says, I have no idea how this works, and then taps the end of the wand to the object, and all of a sudden his like eyes glaze over purple, and then briefly like pale eyes as if he goes blind for a second, and then like his eyes, like a second membrane, it like peels up despite the fact he doesn't have one of those, and he says, it extends certain resources. For example, your connection with Terminus, or the amount of power in a crystalline crystal. If you were to link to this, you could essentially boost the amount of energy available. In real terms, depending on who attunes to it, you get bonus resources, such as 3 extra key points, or 3 extra hit dice, or if a spell crystal exists and it's like a first level spell crystal, you'd be able to use it 3 more times a day or something like that. It's a booster for whatever it is attached to, in a sense. It would also work for someone who's like Andrus, who has spell slots. It would give him either 3 extra spells to choose from, like to prepare, or 3 extra first level spell slots.
What happens if you connect it to Axel's wand?
It would extend the charges by 3.
Is it 3 and it's gone, or is it 3 every day?
It's 3 and it's attached to whatever the resource is. So if the resource it's attached to comes back on a short rest or a long rest, it comes back on a short rest or a long rest.
Okay.
Clara was looking at the violin, right?
I think the dress first.
Dress, okay. Give me a history check, Clara.
Oh boy.
You recognize some of the patterns on the dress as being from your homeland. You can feel that this is magical. There is some amount of Taliesin thread woven into it, although that isn't the main material here, Clara. What you can tell from holding it is this dress is far more sturdy than it appears to be.
Nice.
Anyone else looking for anything in particular? I think Dave for an amulet, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
The amulet appears to have... I think the best representation of the goddess you've seen before this was at Caliban's place. In one of the portraits and some statues that are in his home. This is the next best one you've seen. It is a cast image of her. It lacks some of the detailing because it's quite small, but this is an amulet of the goddess, and you can feel in the golden metal perhaps some use of like iron extracted from angel's blood to make it or something like that, as it has a divinity to it as well, Dafer.
Okay. Axel, if you don't mind, this I can somewhat make out the sense of this, and like I point out the boots, but on this one I am
He will
flummoxed.
use the second charge of the wand on it and says, it allows you to channel some stored power of the divine. This gives you access to the what is it called? Channel divinity feature that clerics have. It gives you turn undead, and also depending on your character will give you one of the other cleric channel divinities. So for example, Dafer might get the Forge cleric one, or so on and so forth, which would be up for discussion with whoever, if anyone takes it, what that might be. And obviously it comes back on short rest. It's exactly the same as channel divinity.
Check. Next.
Anyone got any of the others they want to look at or have identified?
I would like to look at the violin.
Okay. The violin... The violin looks like it's giant craft. It is still of the size for a human. So like a gift made for a human or something in trade. You see depictions of old fortifications, towers, and castles on the back of the violin. And on the front of the violin, you see images of what appears to be festivals in a festival in a courtyard. There's a lit fire and people dancing around it. There is a distinct amount of magic coming off of it. Upon touching it, Clara, you have a vague feeling of understanding of architecture and how buildings are put together.
Well, this wasn't at all what I was expecting.
And there is a linked bowstring to play it as well, Clara. Axel will look at you and say, do you want it checked? I still have 5 more.
Yeah, I think this one would be worthwhile. I don't know, it's making me think about buildings.
Interesting. He'll tap the
Building
wand
them
to
up
it.
or breaking them down.
Just what buildings are like.
Playing this instrument in the presence of a broken object will mend it. Essentially, playing this object is the same as casting the mending cantrip. Also, as a reaction, if a structure is damaged, you can pull the string across the bow of this violin. The bow across the string of this violin. And essentially, it renders the structure hit invulnerable to damage until the start of your next turn. So you can use it to reinforce a structure as a reaction. And once per day, you can play this violin and turn a solid piece of wall into a door that can be opened or closed. And it lasts for a minute before reverting back to solid whatever it was before.
Wow. This thing's kind of cool.
That's very useful. Anything Caliban or Uther want to look at?
Grab up something.
You've got the ball, you've got some various bottles to look at, and there's the threadbare cape.
What did the amulet do?
It's a channel divinity amulet.
I'll see what I can make out with the bottles, but
A cape,
I'm
you
not
say?
exactly a potions guy.
So there's a bottle that has a swirling nexus of like dark storm clouds in it. There's a bright red, kind of tinged brown, kind of reminds you of the dried blood color inside the copper tubes actually bottle as well. And there is a bottle of like, it's like a crystal vial more than anything, and on it is a depiction of what looks to be someone else being stabbed in the back. Like one person stabbing another in the back.
That sounds a little poisony. Can I inspect that in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, give me an Arcana
Using
check.
My knowledge. Alright.
Unstoppering it and giving it a sniff.
1 second.
Oh, yep.
Why do I have got caps lock on?
Who knows? 11.
11. Wow.
Unstoppering it and giving it a sniff. What shocks you is a vague sense of nostalgia, Uther. You've smelt this kind of... It's like a heavy palm of violet kind of smell. Kind of like lavender licorice kind of scent that you recognize from... sometimes you would smell this in like your mother's office when you would visit her. This scent.
Is this the poison that is in the haha secret little necklace that I have?
No, it's not. This is something else.
Yeah,
It's like
okay.
it's like from a really old memory, like the kind of thing you're like, oh, I didn't remember this until I smelt it, and then it kind of like from like when you were very young. But what it does, you don't know. You just know that it had some use to your mom or potentially people in her line of work.
Put the stopper back on, and I'm just like staring at it, just squinting, just like he's chasing that thread right now.
Axel looks at you and says, "Do you want me to check that one?"
We'll hold off, I think, to see what the others have. I'm trying to see if I can remember this one. I'm chasing it down the rabbit hole.
And Caliban, you were after the cape, yeah? Or
Yeah.
The cape itself is made of a multitude of very fine, thin strings that, for the life of you, Caliban, you cannot find the stitching for. It's almost like 1,000 different lines of fabric that just decided they should go together, as opposed to being woven or otherwise seamed together at all. It's, as such, ridiculously thin as a material. At certain angles, it seems to disappear from sight, right? Because you're just looking at the very end of a string of fabric. And as you kind of move it around, occasionally it seems to disappear, despite the fact you can still feel it in your fingers, as if it slips between the cracks of reality and then slips back out.
A one-dimensional cape, or 2D.
Seems to, yeah, 2D, 1D, whatever you would call it. It's so thin that reality is struggling to keep it here.
So, am I just able to figure out what it does?
No, but you could ask Axel if you would like it identified. You can feel that this is attunable in a sense. So if you spent some time with it, it would reveal itself to you, but you'd also, need permission to take it. If you want to know what it does, you can have it identified. I think there's 4 charges left.
I think I'll wait until later.
Okay. I think the only things left is the ball and the 2 bottles. Axel will pick up the ball and say, I hear the sound of an animal running, 4 legs, excited.
Clara looks around to check that Severus has not in fact caught up with them and is just running around the room.
No, you don't see anything like that. As he looks around as well and says, wherever I look, it's as if it's coming from behind me.
Mind throwing that to me for a bit?
By throwing it.
Do I throw it to Dafer or do I throw it in general? Yeah. He throws it to you, Dafer, and catching it.
Yeah.
You hear the same stimulation, a sound of an animal. 4 paws, you would say? 4 paws?
Uh-huh. Okay, but does it sound like the animal was just running to me, or is it just behind me?
It's like it's running towards you from behind you and never getting closer.
Okay. Not excitedly getting something jump up at me, so that's a thing. Oh. Here, and I throw it back at Axel.
Catches it. Puts it back on the pedestal.
Did I try?
He gestures to the ball. Do as you will.
I pick it up.
Yeah. Same sensation.
I think she'll turn to an empty corner of the room and chuck it.
You throw the ball. You feel something whiz past you, like past your heel. But you don't see anything. at which point the bowl reappears back at your feet.
Kids. She starts bending down to pick up the ball.
Yep.
There were a few stray dogs when I grew up, and without anything better to do, we would throw things for them. They would always love chasing them down and bringing it back. I had a hunch. Thankfully, it turned out true, or else I would have had to go search for it.
As you pick up the bowl and you look up towards that corner, in the shadow of coins and such, you see a wide smile that fades.
Suddenly it turns to fear.
Sorry, what is she seeing in the coins? Like, what is this callbacking to?
She sees a smile in the darkness cast by the coins in the torchlight.
It's a black ball. She's seeing a smile.
Goddamn dog. Okay.
I don't think anyone else saw it though.
Axel will pick up the vial that's like red brownish and say, I know what this is. This is giant's blood. It can temporarily boost one's abilities.
Neat.
Okay.
I feel like
But-
it's not a normal thing to just keep around.
Some overzealous individuals in history did extract and harvest these things. There are reserves in certain places.
Okay.
There's the last bottle, which is the swirling vortex thing, which he looks at and he's like, I don't know, maybe a storm in a bottle, something like that.
I have to say, of the things I have taken a closer look at, the foods are catching my interest the most.
Would you like me to identify them with the wand?
I'm not. I'd say. Let's first figure out if we actually don't have a group of like what are the list of objects that we wish to even consider. I have a faint idea of what it does. I feel like I point at how it literally is not touching the ground. If it does what I think it does, it could be in general be a highly valuable tool to have. If it can allow you to one year. But let's first figure out if anything else might not be more important to us.
As, by my eye, the staff, Empress City places a great value on casting implements, especially if they can replicate spells. And maybe
I think that is a good.
cape that Caliban has been swishing around for the last 5 minutes.
I think those are both good calls.
That would still leave us with 2 charges. We could check the vortex bottle, as I've no idea what it does.
I mean, let's first check the staff and the cape. I'd say. Anyone in disagreement, or does anyone think, in comparison to the other objects remaining, that there should definitely get more closely looked at?
I think the staff is a wise choice.
Agreed.
He goes over to the staff, taps a wand to it, and says, there's a lot here. It seems like it was linked to some destruction of 5 trees in Heaven's Pillar. Some event where they were cut down or maybe burnt. I can't quite tell. The information I get keeps shifting. And pieces of the tree were bound together to keep something inside. He kind of looks down at the staff and says, it can essentially channel life from things that are struck by it into the wielder. It also seems to have some ability to invoke friendship. I don't know. This one is the weirdest readout I've got. I think there's something hidden underneath, but the information I'm getting isn't giving me everything, that's for sure. It's definitely a conduit for spells. Out of character, it is a +1 spell casting implement. It gives you the Chill Touch cantrip, and any damage dealt by Chill Touch is absorbed as HP.
Pretty fancy.
Also, plants see you as friend.
What do plants usually see you as?
Food.
Nuisance.
In my way
Whatever
of
they can
sunshine, yeah.
I'm
I was
gonna
muted,
be
but I
real.
said that plants already see me as friend.
No, fungus sees you as friend.
It's true, it's closer to an animal, technically, I suppose.
I assume it requires attunement.
It does require attunement, yes. Axel will say, if we can work out how to keep the containment center of it clear, it could be added to a weapon, however. We just need to find out where the very core of it is.
Might be easier said than done.
But we have a workshop of very gifted individuals. Maybe they can figure something out.
Also true.
What a glance at her host. Has she recovered from the shock yet?
Yeah, she's recovered. I think that the amulet with the goddess on it, she has gravitated towards and is like running her fingers over that imagery because, my God, would she like to wear that? That's like, she can feel the magic, the divine coming off of it. So she is definitely.
What did that one do again?
That's the one that gives you channel divinity.
Oh. Yeah, no, that checks out.
But yeah, I mean, her eyes would go to the amulet and the reliquary rod, the one that has the divine light in it. So, like, anything related to the goddess, you can tell you would have to pry from her fingers, in a sense, right? Or, like, give a really good argument, yeah.
I'll hand over the reliquary rod.
She takes it and says, is this a piece of an angel, or...?
Maybe. Maybe you have a new friend for the two out there. I'm sure they're getting lonely with each other.
She takes a hold of it and kind of brings it up to her eye, not minding the, like, bright glow that it gives off. She's trying her best to look between the gaps and see what might be in there, but she cannot, as hard as she tries.
I'm gonna call a quick huddle with Uther. And Hera is gonna put her arm around your shoulders, getting close, and roll the tennis ball into her hand. This has our friend. It's touched by our friend. I do not think
Our
we should
friend.
leave it our friend. It's lightest terms I can use. Do not think we should leave it here.
And you think we should leave it with us?
Call it a gut feeling. As misguided as it seems to us, it only wanted us to succeed. But if it does flood our dorm with rainwater, I'm tossing it into the sewers.
Congratulations, you flooded the entire city.
Listen here.
You wanna hide it on your person, Uther, or what do you want to do, or just?
You could say, hey, we would like to, like this. This seems to just be like a little toy. However, it seems like something that you could do spirit research on. So,
I legitimately don't have sleight of hand.
I'll hide it on my person. To be fair, right now, depending on who you're trying to hide this from, I mean, literally, the one person who's like watching you take artifacts or not is pressing her eye up against a bright light. So like, it would not.
I don't think I really have to try. Just put it.
But it depends on whether you're like hiding it from other people in the party or not. Like that's the.
I'm just going to put it in my utility belt then.
Okay, is that where the mask is as well?
No, the mask is at the bottom of my bag right now.
Just wondered.
I'm not. I'm dressed. Uther is like in like 90% his like nerd get up from school. He's just got like his utility belt.
Okay.
He was not dressed up for a fight today.
Unknowing agent of the DM assembling the dog Voltron and Uther.
Axel will tap the one to the cape that the Caliban has in hand. The cape allows you to cast Dimension Door once per day. So once per short rest, you can cast Dimension Door with the cape.
Okay.
Oh god, giving the fighter mobility options.
It doesn't technically need to be worn as a cape. You could wrap it around your arm. And obviously with the way the material is, like, it's very easy to, like, fold up and put in a pocket or something like that. It's
Imagine, imagine like, oh, I need to sneeze. Let me just pull out.
I think the funniest thing would be you sneeze and it's not in reality, so you just fully like sneeze into your fucking hand. It's like a handkerchief that probably won't be there for you when you need it.
What if I just like use the dimension door to sneeze and the sneeze just like landed like in a completely separate area?
You just like sneeze in someone's ear 500 foot away from you. That's the most disgusting thing I can imagine happening to me. Is someone's snot just materializing on me.
I personally think the boots I think can go anywhere from not interesting to interesting depending on if they're like, I don't know, boots of levitation. Like in general, you just can just like cast levitate on yourself, or it allows for more general speedy air walking essentially. Because that improves their.
If you think, if Dayfra thinks it's an interesting thing, then Axel will definitely. Yeah. He's got 2 left, and he's somewhat keen to identify the flowers because of the fact that they look like the gloaming powder.
But that would leave the dress that Clara showed an interest in without a charge to identify.
That is right.
I think I reasonably know what that one does anyway. Like it has talisman thread in it, and it's fairly sturdy. I am of a reasonable assumption that this is like basically a thief's dress or something of the sort, where it makes you sneakier, but it also is deceptively tanky. Because people will expect it to be fabric, and it is not in fact just fabric.
How long does it take for that wand to recharge?
Axel looks at you and says, "As far as I know, it doesn't."
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, too long.
We also have Identify at home. I say home. The door.
Identify at home, terminus.
The wand grants a lot more insight into an object than the crystal does. The wand is more reactive to my desire and beyond, shall we say.
Is that a
Now-
legend lore wand masquerading as an identify wand?
To a degree, Uther, in your mind as he says that might make more sense to you.
Is it possible, looking at it, to reach the petals directly?
Yeah?
Axel, do you trust me?
No.
Okay.
Do not.
Wow.
the petals.
You need to explain what you're doing beforehand.
I feel like in this moment she opens her mouth and there's a sort of like passing bit of self-consciousness as she realizes just how dumb the thought is. Her train of thought is, I was going to eat one of the petals.
Yeah, no,
Oh
absolutely
my
not.
god.
Even the dogmatic woman who cut her hand on the mere mention of needing a blood offering to open this door looks at you like crazy.
Okay.
It's being
We're gonna have to
proactive,
put you
okay?
on, like, I'm going to put you on one of those toddler leashes.
I just being proactive.
He will tap the wand to the boots. The boots essentially give you immunity to rough terrain because you basically skate everywhere on a layer just above the ground. And as a bonus action, you can basically create a invisible ramp for you to jump off of, which gives you the effect of the jump spell.
Okay. Okay, not as crazy as I thought they would be.
On the plus
Pretty
side,
useful.
this one isn't attunable.
Yeah, nice.
And the flowers, when consumed, cast the scry spell. Essentially, you need to think of a person or a place, and then you eat the flower petals, and you see that person or place, wherever it may be.
How many charges?
It's a flower that you
Flowers.
eat. There are 5 flowers in
Entire?
total. You must,
Okay.
yeah, you got to eat the whole flower.
How
You
much
can't just
chewing
skim
is
it
that?
halfway through.
Sorry, what's that?
How much chewing is it?
Enough.
More than 7, less than 12.
I hate you so much sometimes.
You asked the question.
That's fair.
Okay.
Just you don't want to like have to be like in a tense situation where you need to scry on like the other side of the wall, and it's like, what do you see? And she's like, I'm chewing, I'm going as fast as I can.
Axel will roll out some of the portraits as well, and as he's looking through them, he's like, Clara, come take a look at this art.
I'll go have a look over his shoulder.
Yeah, rounding a big pile of gold coins. He has a landscape like painting, and it seems to show, as by your eyes, a very early rendition of the capital city of your home, when there were much fewer trees in the area, much shorter, and the very beginnings of a settlement. You see that there are giants and people living there right next to one another, essentially. This is a very old piece of history, Clara, by your eyes.
I don't know what my people would think if they saw this. It's nothing like we've ever imagined.
I wasn't aware of there being any giants that far north. I thought they stopped at the mountains.
So did we.
I think we take this one, for sure.
How much do you think we can actually realistically take out of here? And how much... She looks around and lowers her voice. How much were we supposed to take back?
The thing is, this isn't any of what I was told would be here. In particular, I was told about a staff with a star hovering at the end. I thought the wood, the black wooden object you found might be it, but when I identified it, it didn't... There was nothing about producing a mote of light or a star or anything like that.
Okay. I feel like the cape would be a given. That is something that is even like either if it remains in the party, it's super valuable. If the headmistress grabs it for, I don't know, mission requirements or something, it is super valuable. Particularly as like a unknown tool.
Yeah, I mean, moving 500 feet in an instant is definitely a nice, especially when you can go through solid objects.
Yeah. So I think that one is like an absolute no-brainer as to have as a secret trump card.
I guess the good question is, what would people part with that they are, like that they're like, oh, we don't need this.
I don't care too much about the amulet. I don't care too much about the amulet for myself. And particularly not for the amount of hassle it might get us into with sympathy.
Yeah, I assume no one has a problem with Sister Sympathy keeping both of the goddess artifacts, the reliquary and the amulet, unless someone has a very particular case for it.
And there's probably interesting things that could happen with it. Like, I imagine, like, Grave Domain Adhera probably has some form of argument.
Nightmare.
I imagine, like... Well, I suppose in the same vein, I imagine, like, Nature Domain Clara has an argument. And I think there's lots of cool things you could do with it, but I'm generally of the same opinion that it's probably not even worth the argument.
We
also might allow us to grab more objects.
We make friends by not grabbing the goddess artifacts.
Yeah,
We've also, out of character, we've already like screwed our relationship with one of the people here. Sympathy is our best bet.
That's a very big
We
is pulling so much weight in that sentence.
I think Caliban taking the dagger as well, she wouldn't argue with, because as far as she sees it, it's returning an angel's weapons to an angel's hands. She's not... That seems right to her.
God, if only she actually did him.
I think the staff going to, like, in Clara's hands, it was her blood from the north that opened the door. It's her wood from the north, by her eyes. I think she would want the giant's blood, mostly because it is a backup option if this place is attacked and they need to defend themselves. It seems like, from what Axel said, this might empower one of them to be a defensive force, even if it was temporary.
Makes sense to me. Like, Dafer is not knowledgeable. Like, Dafer is not about to get into Blood Rune Craft to make some permanent effect out of that. So,
I think the consumable she's not worried about either. So, like, you guys can take the flowers, the one potion that you don't know what it does, the, like, stormy potion, and the one that Uther you have as well, the one that you know the smell of, you can take.
Actually, I'll call it the crystal vial of backstabbing.
She would be interested in either the dress, the cape, or the boots. So like one, and then the other two of those three you guys can keep.
I think the boots are a fair sacrifice here. I think the dress might be more valuable than the boots. Correct me if like. Sorry, apologies.
Yeah, so the dress definitely has something to do with being sneaky and sturdy.
Yeah.
I think in
I mean,
general
maybe
we
this-
do a lot of sneaking around.
Yeah, you guys do.
Might be a good shout.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the third thing? Boots, dress.
And the dimension door cape.
Yeah, sorry. The cape is a no-brainer. Like, even if we don't get to keep it, it's such a huge boon, even to like the headmistress. It's that's
Yeah,
that's
I
a
think we should
no-brainer to
definitely be
take.
angling to keep the cape.
And then you guys can either have the scarf, or she'll let you take like a decent chunk of gold and gems with you. So like you can either have the scarf or some wealth to bring back to the academy. It's up to you guys.
What was the scarf doing again?
The scarf does something.
Wow.
The scarf does something to do with spirits. So it's got something to do with ki, essentially, Atira. And it seems to shift between 4 different seasons. So there's 4 different effects bundled in there, but the exact abilities are unknown. It is an attunable.
I am honestly this like both of these are valuable because I assume in terms of like the decent chunk amount of gold that would actually like would it be enough gold like to significantly improve the situation of the academy?
Yes, so I think the amount of gold and gems you would find, it would be, she'd have to find a way to sell it off because essentially it's not currency you're bringing back, right? It's things that could be sold. It's probably like 6 months of funding of like the entire academy or like one big project or something like that. It is a decent chunk.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, the pain.
Yeah, I think the knowing what the scarf exactly does would be super of value here because depending on what it does, my interest is piqued or not. But
Do we have one last charge on the?
I don't think so.
The last charge was used on the flower.
So we can either know for sure that we have a massive amount of funding for the academy, or we have this
Mystery scarf.
We have
Spiffy
new
scarf.
tricks our monk can do.
Can we do the total up of what we are keeping and aren't keeping?
Yeah, so
I have that. Yeah.
you guys are keeping the candle dagger, the architect's violin, the swirly storm bottle. You've got the black dog ball, but she doesn't know about that anyway. The reliquary rod's staying with her. The boots are staying with her. The amulet's staying with her. You've got the cape. You've got the flowers. You've got the dress. You've got the potion that Uther kind of recognizes. You've got the staff. And then it's a question of scarf or gold.
Okay.
Wait, what's the one with the violin?
The violin is the one that casts mending and...
Yeah. Correct. But did she take that, or did we like? Did we
Oh,
already
I think
negotiate it out?
I think she would just be like, we have, as far as she's concerned, she can't. Well, actually, it would be useful because it could be used to do repairs and things like that around.
Yes.
So she'd be willing to. No, I still think she'd give it over, though. I don't know what it is about it, but she feels like it should go with the group. But the scarf, yeah.
Damn, I was gonna try and angle. You get the violin, we get the scarf and the money.
If you want to swap the scarf for the violin, I think she could be convinced of it. It would take a persuasion check. Not a hard one, but it would take a persuasion check.
The thing about the violin is that the entire pass wall effect is also very good for sneaking.
Yeah, I like
However,
the pass
actu-
wall.
Wait, but there are passable crystals, right?
There are passable crystals. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Wouldn't be-
the violin does more than just the pass walls.
It,
Like,
it
I
does
kind of-
it does the reactive immunity to damage for structures, and it does mending if played for a minute.
My question
Uh,
is, do you have to play it to get past wall?
In the sense that like you could play the single the single quietest note and it would work, but you would have to.
Trying to sneak.
Also,
Violin.
like, saying there are pass wall crystals, like pass wall is a 5th level spell.
Yes, so that would be a while out. They are a thing that exist, but it's not within your budget right now as a group.
Clara
I'd
is
argue-
generally pro violin, personally.
I'd argue that one could also be one of the more valuable ones for the academy in general, because like you can build an entire unique structure around that suddenly becomes invincible, because you
if
have
the
2
academy
people manning
suddenly
it.
comes under siege.
Or they make a siege tower or something like it. You
If-
can make unironically like some kind of very heavy movable building.
If you guys want, you can make a harder persuasion check, which is to keep the scarf and the violin, and maybe take some smaller amount of money rather than like 6 months, 3 months.
I don't want to get too greedy,
I do.
personally.
Of course, Atira does.
I have a +7
Push.
persuasion. Does anyone else have proficiency in it?
I have proficiency,
don't have
but my bonus
proficiency
is
in
less than yours.
You could do it with advantage. You've got the 1d4. You have +7. You have a good chance. What I'll come out and say is, on a 15 or higher, it's 1 month's of gold and the objects. On a 20 and higher, it's 2 months and the object. And at 25 and higher, it's 3 months and object. And if you hit a 30, I'll give you everything and the 6 months.
Okay.
20.
I
It's-
mean, one
it's-
thing
I
the
have an
30 is
unlit
basically a
cigarette
5%
in my
chance.
fingers right now. Just
The
Fucking
30
everything.
30 is within your range, right? You could get a natural
is.
20, you could get a 7, and you could get 3 or 4 on a d4.
I'll leave it to the group.
The odds are very low, but
Yeah, like the chance is like, I don't know, 1 in 50 or something.
Okay, a bit better than that. Let's be real, bud.
Is
For
it
a
better
30?
than that? I don't know
120.
if it is.
It's 5%. It's 5% halved. Actually, no,
What?
it's quartered. Because only
Why is
actually 1 second. No, half, because 3 and 4 would get you the result. So
Well,
Yeah.
that's
Wait,
not,
I'm
okay,
19.
that's not how that works, Matt.
yeah, right. The 90 plus 4 it also works. Yeah, still.
Are you waiting for it? Are you waiting for the score to load or something?
I haven't.
no, I think Atira's weighing up the.
I think this is a group choice.
I don't know this. I can't see a reason to not make the check though. To not
Yeah,
try and
like,
be like,
if-
look, we've done a lot of good.
Because we
this
can
will
get
do
more
a lot of
funding
good.
if we.
Yeah,
Because we can get double the funding.
you'll get
Well,
the
yeah,
6
so I
months.
don't see the reason to not make the check.
I will make a check.
Okay.
We'll say
Okay.
Clara and Hira make their best attempt at persuasion. They blink their eyes. Boink boink.
I think the fact
Well, this
that
is not even getting into the fact that I need to explain to you all how I'm gonna fucking save their groundskeeper candle lighter.
yeah, there is that as well. That Clara is helping Cooper.
Okay. So, want me to click it?
I think you are, yeah. So that
26.
26. So you get 2 months funding and both objects. You have
Are we
the
fine with
scarf.
this, or do we want the full 6 months?
I don't know how you're gonna get them, but
Yeah,
before
that she's already like.
You've already clicked the button.
So yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, okay.
So yeah, 2 months of funding, and you get the scarf
Like, are we gonna
and
beat
the
up this
violin.
woman because she won't give us enough money?
The thing D&D makes you do is students figuring out how to fund.
But yes, Sister Sympathy says, I believe that, and of course the piece of art that you requested as well will be. You can certainly take that.
So what were the 2 items we got? It was the scarf.
Scarf and the violin.
Okay, check.
She says, is that, I think that concludes our business here.
Yes, I believe it does.
Don't see why not.
Axel stops and says, in the chamber outside, did your predecessors ever tell you about a staff with a star or a crystal in the shape of a star on it? Those of you proficient in insight, please give me a check.
Now you want to be at 20.
You see...
Apologies, proficient in insight, I misheard.
You see... Both of you see a look of worry come over her face, like ever so slight, not ever so slight, deep concern, but it's there only for a fraction of a second. Where she says, no, as I said before, everything in that chamber was taken, or if they did mention it, I'm sure it's gone. Axel gives us... Axel gives a slow nod before turning. Okay, well, I think I need a moment to talk to my students. Obviously, you don't have to leave us in here. We'll step outside. She nods. So, of course. And Axel takes you kind of out into the chamber until you're like a good enough distance away. He's not going that far. He just wants to walk you out into the chamber so that you're not within earshot of her, so you can speak. And he just says, I got a read on something, but nothing exact. Did any of you? She seems to be cagey to me.
She's worried.
She doesn't know. Can sense her.
What about... He looks over at her in the back and says, I'm shocked that she's not trusting us yet. I mean, we've already opened up this vault. We've negotiated fairly for everything, and she seemed more than amicable throughout. What is there to hold back?
Might be something important.
More important than the lens upstairs.
Chickens. I wouldn't count chickens before they hatch. There's more work we have to do here. But I'll explain that when we get back upstairs.
I'm going to walk over to Axel and kind of lean against him. And then I would like to send myself to sleep.
He catches you and sighs.
Last time I did this, that vault door was closed and it blocked out me seeing anything else in there. Now that it's open, we have access. Maybe there's one last thing, and I'd rather use this point to do this and make sure that we're not missing something instead of going up through the stars.
Adhira, instantly, you see something beneath your feet that you realize that you saw in passing last night, but you had forgotten about. There is a set of stairs in the middle of this room that you can see as you are, but not as you were. Then it's not in the vault, it's in the middle of the chamber in front of you. What you can see, however, is that there are... It's not runes. There are shapes embedded into the stonework, like just underneath what would be like a false stone ceiling that you guys can sort of see as material beings. There is a very powerful barrier spell put over, like, just underneath the stairs as it goes deeper. Adhira, having spent some time with Dafer and Uther, with them like setting up various, protective runes and stuff, you realize those protective runes are facing down, not up. They're keeping something in, not out.
And her spirit, ethereal and with bare form, I'm going to settle it down against the floor. And I'm going to try block out everything. I'm going to listen.
Give me a perception check. You hear a voice. It is not your mother's voice, but it makes you think of your mother. Despite the fact it is very cold and nothing alike her whatsoever. That asks you to come deeper.
Her body stirs, and then she awakens. She looks up at Axel and then to all of her classmates. In a low voice, there's something else in this room. Stairs, hidden. It goes down, but the runes they put in place, the systems they put in place, it's not to keep us out, it's to keep something in.
Can you describe the runes you speak of?
She does her best. It's hard because knowing her and her interests, she's not all about that sort of stuff, but she does it to the best of her ability.
Those of you proficient in Arcana can make Arcana checks, and those of you proficient in History can make History checks.
I'm proficient in both.
You may make both.
Ooh.
That's a
God
25
damn,
and 28. There's the 13.
Yeah, I gotta drag it down somehow.
Can I just say these rolls, these like past couple of rolls have been unbelievably good, even without the D4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, rolling hot.
I'm bringing the average back down. Don't worry, guys.
Adhira and Dafer on the Arcanas of 25 and 28. Adhira, you realize you misspoke, because they're not runes. They are marks left by magic, almost like a fingerprint that reality was altered here. And Dafer, that sort of description triggers in you books you have read about when the goddess was here. She gave certain people magic. This kind of imprint means that when this spell was cast, magic was still intact. So this sealing spell was cast either before the goddess left or in the final generation of magic users that eventually passed away. And, therefore no true magic really remains. You have Crystalm and you have other objects that have magic-like abilities. But yeah, these marks are true magic. Things left by the real power to warp reality.
So what we've most got something cast true magic here, and that true magic is really powerful.
And it's
keeping really powerful.
And it's keeping something down there.
Okay. We might want to inquire what is being kept at bay here, because whatever it is appears to have been in there since the death of magic.
Spooky magic prison's leaking.
And I'm pretty sure that Sympathy will know. This likely is her task.
There was a voice. It made me think of my mother. But it was cold. It was so cold.
Nobody has history proficiency? Oh no,
I
Uther does.
I rolled, but I rolled bad.
Does Caliban not have history as well? I might be losing my mind.
Oh, I do.
Oh, you give me a history check as well, please, Caliban.
Nat 20.
Oh my god.
Save us.
1d4.
No, you have
Jesus.
you have as much information as you got. I think there is a good place to leave off. We've been going for 4 hours.
Oh man, I can't believe we're going to pop the hag out of the base.
The hag, not the inverted horse hag.
Baba Lysaga, no.